Oh my god, you're gonna say, what the fuck is he doing? Just another tier list? Yeah, I want to do a bunch of tier lists, actually. Let's see. I'm gonna do some... Oh my god, this starts off really nice. Why is there only a few at a row below? Okay. Gonna change this to... Okay, it's getting lighter or what? Or... I'm not good at making this stuff. I have never made tier lists, so I don't really know what I'm doing. This, then... We have light blue, and really down below here we have like the dark purplish blue. So we have E, F, and trash. So we have S ranks, A rank, B rank, C, D, E, F. S rank is probably the best, and F rank is the worst characters. Alexandra, I have no clue. I have to put everyone who's unrankable, E, or unrankable. I have no clue who Alexandra is. I have not played all the Metal Gear games, that's my issue here. I've played the majority of them, but not all of them. Some I of course know, even though I haven't played them, but some of them I don't know at all. Like, at all. I mean, in my defense, who in the world has the time to play every character, every game, and remember all the characters? We're not nerds like that. Oh, Alexandra is the nurse, right? Let me take a look at you. Yes, she's the nurse from Metal Gear Solid 5. She gets a B tier because she's competent and she kind of gives boss, aka the player, she gives like a little ass wiggle here and there, I think. So there's a few moments where you get a good look at her bum while she walks in and out, and she argues with the doctor and storms out rather enraged, and eventually gets killed by a power. What? Chainsaw? Are you playing Chainsaw Man? Or are we watching? Are we going about Chainsaw Man again? No, not Power. I mean, Quiet. There we go. So yeah, Alice Hazel. I have no clue who that is supposed to be. Her artwork is drawn, so I assume there's no actual in-game artwork, so she's unrankable. Amanda, that seems to be a mobile character, a character from the mobile game, Peace Walker. And if she's in another game, then she's so irrelevant that I don't know. Armstrong, the meme character. He goes in the B tier. In the high B tier, or hey, A tier actually. He goes in the A tier. Senator Armstrong is basically the Metal Gear series has it with presidents and senators and doctors and professors being actually skilled combatants, or rather being nearly undefeatable behemoths. Like, the series has it with presidents and doctors, and I mean, the whole plot of Metal Gear Solid 2 is essentially fighting your father, who is, or your so-to-say father, who is the President of the United States. So if that isn't fucky, then I don't know what it is. So Senator Armstrong, nanomachine enhanced villain of Metal Gear Solid. Is it Revengeance? Raiden's game. Raiden's game is my least favorite game. Actually, let's do that at the same time. Let's do that. Let's rank at the same time Metal Gear Solid games. Metal Gear and Solid games. Well, this is French. I don't like this. Hardest to easiest. Games tier list. Here it is. That's not all of them, isn't it? Isn't there? Metal Gear Solid. This seems to be more comprehensive. So, Armstrong is from Revengeance, and I want to try to find that one from the artwork. Survive, Metal Gear, blah blah blah, Metal Gear Solid 5. What's the artwork of Revengeance? Snake Eater. Is it this one? Oh, that's Metal Gear Acid. Which one is the artwork of Metal Gear Rising? Not Revengeance, Rising. Rising gets an C tier because Raiden is the protagonist. This guy is in it, and he's very, very unlikable. But he's a top tier villain, and that makes him good. He has nanomachines and is able to defeat, almost defeat Raiden, who is cybernetically enhanced by the plot of that game. So Armstrong is a strong A tier, definitely. Augustine Eguabon must be a C64. Was it C64 character? I have no opinion on that. BB. What is this? Makes no sense to me. Unknown. The big boss. Wow, who are you talking about? The real one? The actual big boss? If it's the actual big boss, then the actual big boss gets a A tier as well. Leading the A tier though. Why does Big Boss get an A tier? Well, Big Boss stars in pretty much all of these games. Snake's Revenge, so to say. In this one here, the original Metal Gear. Which belongs in the A as well. I'm not going to explain the plot that much, but Big Boss, a big man with big ambitions and with big dreams, fantasy world, building Outer Heaven, a place where soldiers can be soldiers without being influenced by anybody else. A dreamer. Delusional dreamer who thinks soldiers are honorable fighters, who doesn't realize that they are puppets of the nations controlling them, and they are not, well, they don't have their fate in their own hands, realizes it way too late, and multiple attempts at freedom for soldiers. Mother base, 2 times, for example, he makes 2 times a mother base, trying to build a fictional place where soldiers can thrive. He builds it a 3rd time, and that's the time where he gets killed eventually. He gets A tier simply because he acquires... Actually, Big Boss gets an S tier because he is a man. He acquires multiple Metal Gears throughout his history. He defeats Shagohod, one of the first Metal Gear prototypes or predecessors. Big Boss defeats and captures the Sahelanthropus, the first walking 2-legged machine robot that looks pretty much like Metal Gear Rex. And he acquires another Metal Gear and puts it in his mother base. So this man has defeated and or possessed 3 Metal Gears, and that's quite a feat. So he's a delusional dreamer, but his strength, of course, puts him in S tier. So he's above Armstrong, who's just a senator who's nanomachine enhanced. But Big Boss is all raw. He's no nanomachines. He's just a guy who was born different, strong enough to be nearly unstoppable. So he deserves S rank because he's naturally grown and naturally born and naturally raised. And the guy got irradiated. The guy had his eye shot out. The guy got impaled and cut open multiple times, shot a dozen times in his lifetime, stomped by Metal Gear, ran over by Metal Gear, thrown off of cliffs, exposed to radiation from a nuke in the Pacific, or Bikini Atoll, I think it was, or the Pacific Ocean, can't remember, doesn't really matter. He got exposed to atom bomb tests, and he got exposed to radiation from a Davy Crockett man portable or small machine portable or carriage portable, basically handheld mini nuke launcher. He got exposed to radiation multiple times and still survived and was able to be not the actual father, but the genetical material without any damage to his genetical material. There's no damage to his genetic material. He's of course not procreating. That's what it's called when you have children, right? He doesn't have children in the classical sense that he has sex and has children and somebody gives birth to them. No, he basically his DNA, his simple evolution and nature-given code is taken from his cells in his body, and that makes children, so to say. So he is a father, but not a traditional father in the sense of being an actual father. S tier, anyways. Black Arts Viper, is that a character from one of the early Metal Gear games? I think it is one of the early Metal Gear characters, gets a D tier. The Black Ninja is a villain from one of the early Metal Gear games, get a C tier, because they are so easily defeated if you know how to, so it's not even worth it. These characters are, well, this is a Metal Gear. Metal Gears automatically, if they suck, they get a E rank, because this one is just sucks. Bloody Brad is one of the boss characters from early Metal Gear games as well, from the pixelized Metal Gear games. Well, we didn't have any better ones. These characters defined the storyline, or not the storyline, but these characters defined, before it was even extended to the way it is right now, these characters defined Metal Gear, so to say. So these characters are automatically in C or B rank. They can't be unrankable or F rank. And they're villains. Villains is the key point in Metal Gear games. Without villains, who wants to play and be around only good guys? Villains is where it's at. Volgin. Oh, Volgin. Volgin gets an S tier. Boris, and then I can't remember what his middle name is. He has Boris Baziliovich Volgin or something like that. Braziliovich or something. He has a middle name too. Volgin is a villain in Metal Gear Solid 3. The first survival Metal Gear that you play, where you have to eat to get stamina, you have to hunt animals, and it's still a linear game. It doesn't have open world, a semi-open world, a mini-open world. It's linear, you have to walk from the beginning to the end, just like Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3 fits into that. It's a straight map. The Metal Gear Solid games were always interesting because they allowed you to go from one place to the other and explore a world, but you always had this linearness. If you explore the same hangar 10 times, what's there to see? There's nothing more to see. So in the end, you just know already what's there and you just race through the game. At the first time, it's really an exploration process. You go into every door that you can and you explore and look around, and even the earliest Metal Gear games allowed you to go back into places you've already been in certain limitations. Metal Gear Solid 3, Volgin, is a very good character. He basically starts a coup, you could say. He's a renegade officer. He acquires nukes, as well as the prototype of Metal Gear that Russia is developing, a digging land tank that is able to use its front digger utensils, corkscrew diggers, as locomotion, and carries a engine or energy or battery department behind it as a small carriage, as an armored carriage behind it. It's, so to say, a two-pieced vehicle with I think it's tracks at the back end for the carriage, and the main component, the body part, so to say, is tracks and these corkscrew drivers, so to say. He acquires that and intends to use it to show that Mother Russia is dominate, but mostly for his own sake, because he wants to control it. He gets around himself a bunch of professionals from a unit that will later be known as Foxhound, so to say, the predecessors of Foxhound, you could say. The boss and her other minions that I won't disclose here. We're going to get to them if they are included in this list, but the End, for example, the Old Man, the End, and many other characters. Volgin is scarred heavily. His skin is popped open in multiple parts and he's heavily scarred. That is because electricity emanates from his body and he's able to shoot it from his body or encase his body in electricity. Volgin is ultimately the villain who surrounds himself with professionals. One of them is young Revolver Ocelot. Young Revolver Ocelot has his own agenda. Young Revolver Ocelot wants to be in control of a Spetsnaz unit. And he is. I think Revolver Ocelot at that time is even a KGB agent or something like that. Young Revolver Ocelot is his subordinate, as well as a play toy that he uses, but not in the same sense as another minion that we'll get to. Volgin uses another minion as an actual sex partner, so to say. Volgin uses Revolver Ocelot, and Revolver Ocelot doesn't like being manipulated. This is why Volgin was doomed to fail. He surrounded himself with people who were only in it as long as he was under control, and the more control slipped away from Volgin's hands, the less loyal people were till the very end, when everybody basically betrayed him, or more or less betrayed him. Now what happens with Volgin is he's disposed of by Big Boss, quite obviously, but it's a heavy fight. And Volgin returns in Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. He returns as the Man on Fire. The Man on Fire is the re-embodiment of a burned, scorched, and merged with bullet casings and bullets, cartridges, like live bullet shells, Volgin. Volgin has some of his conscience still left inside of himself, but the majority of it is of course gone. He is, you could say, merely a vessel, but at the same time he is obviously a very dangerous character and very strong. So he deserves to be in the S tier because he is an important character throughout the storyline. But many, many more importantly, or much, much more importantly, he is a character who is dangerous, a threat, and is seen and treated as such. And at the same time, he tries to uphold the soldier code as well. He tries to be a good soldier and a good servant and a good soldier for his country, but he ultimately is, not grief-stricken, but he's ultimately stricken with the missing respect from the country, and that's why he does his own thing. So Volgin goes definitely in the S tier. He's a cool villain with electricity. He surrounds himself with cool people, pretty much like Big Boss does later on, but for a different side. Big Boss does it for a different side, and Volgin is thus a little bit like Solid Snake, like Big Boss, like Snake. Boris, I have no opinion on this guy. I don't know who that is. The boss gets an A tier, but she gets to lead the A tier at least. Why is the boss only an A tier? The boss is the trainer mentor of Big Boss. Goes with Volgin. She brings her own outfit, and I mean outfit as in soldiers, her own outfit of mercenaries with her, betrays the United States and works with Volgin to acquire Metal Gear, or Shagohod, the predecessor of Metal Gears, of all Metal Gears, the Shagohod. She acquires it and the nukes, and she doesn't mind betraying Big Boss as well. Breaks his arm, destroys his weapons, and throws him off a bridge. So he almost dies, but indeed she hopes that he survives. Together with one of her associates in her outfit, she is the mother of Revolver Ocelot. So she was not loved in the sexual way, but loved as a character by Big Boss. She gave birth to an awesome badass of a man who himself betrays multiple nations multiple times in his life, just like Mother. trains his own soldiers as well. So she trains her own soldiers, and she mentored and taught Big Boss how to use CQC and other techniques. So she was a mentor and a huge mentor and training figurine or trainer figurine to Big Boss. So she deserves A tier. She also dons a beautiful outfit, which reveals not only her jiggling breasts. It's a Soviet prototype sneaking suit that she's wearing later in the game that masquerades her heat signature a bit, keeps her warm but also agile at the same time, but doesn't disguise her, of course, because it's plain white. It doesn't act as camouflage at all. But it's a combat suit that is very, very good. She also has a short M4 with a cut-off stock and a dual C-mag, a drum mag with a double drum mag, the Peacemaker, I think it's called, a terrible weapon that has, like, when you're at the receiving end, you feel like it has infinite bullets. It's a terribly dangerous weapon, and she is basically put out of her misery by Big Boss. She dons a snake-like S-shaped scar, or nearly S-shaped, or, snake-shaped scar on her body that is testament of the possibly worst cesarean section. The cesarean section is a cut that is done horizontally on the lower belly of a woman to get a child out of the mother's womb if the child is not able to pass naturally through the woman at birth. So a emergency or just a C-section is done even on demand sometimes, or just as indication by the doctors. Sometimes it's done on demand, or if doctors are okay with it and the woman just doesn't want to give birth naturally. Yes, so she dons a terrible scar that actually goes from her breast height all the way to her belly. A really terribly large wound that she has suffered. And her child was taken from her, so the trauma and everything makes her A tier. Actually, she's a traitor, but such a traitor, she is a true and the only true patriot. She only betrayed the country, as ironic as it sounds, because she is a patriot. She is the inspiring figurine that makes Big Boss found the Patriots, a group, an organization of true Americans that want to fight for peace, but also keep secrets and keep the balance of order and be in control. The Patriots are very strong, and they use identities of long dead people, so their identities are unknown, and even to the President of the United States, they are unknown. People are conditioned to be unable to say the Patriots or speak their names if they know them. People that are conditioned in that way have been brainwashed and manipulated, and these people are only able to say phrases like la li lu le lo. The la li lu le lo is the code word, so to say, for the Patriots. That is because these people are not able to say, I'm ordered by the Patriots, because if they say that in a Congress, if they say that in a investigation, in a interrogation, they are immediately spawning the danger of the Patriots being disbanded or proclaimed outlawed by the president and the authorities. And since these people cannot say the name of the Patriots, they can't say they work for the Patriots, it is impossible to link them to the Patriots, because you have to say, I work for the Patriots. But if you say, I work for Lali Lulelo, even if everybody knows Lali Lulelo is the Patriots, they don't say Patriots, and they have to say that. So she is one of the first people or she is the one person that inspires Big Boss to be founder of the Patriots. So she is a true patriot, and that's actually the phrase that Big Boss says. She is a true patriot. Brian McBride have no opinion. Captain. Who's that supposed to be? Captain? Who's this? I have no opinion on that. Cecil is the same as Amanda. Chai Gideon, I have no opinion on that. Charles Schmeiser gets a D. Chico gets a... He fits not really. He doesn't fit with the. He doesn't fit with the. He doesn't fit with the villains in C. He's a B, but he would be a low B rank, so I'd have to drag him to the end eventually. Why is that the reason? Is Chico is pretty much useless. He is a kid that's interred in a Metal Gear Solid Mobile, I think. Peace Walker, that's what the name is. And he's seen in Ground Zeroes as well. He starts off as a cocky kid that wants to basically nothing to do with anything, but wants to fight for his country to save it from the invaders, so to say. So he's a rebel, and he's very, very headstrong, very, very kind as well, though, but doesn't take, obviously, any crap from anybody. And he is the one person who tries to help Big Boss, but ultimately pays with his life for that sad story. Yeah. Peace Walker and Ground Zeroes, Metal Gear Solid, basically 4, you could say, or 4.9, and Metal Gear Solid 5. Ground Zeroes is where he appears. He is hinted at in Phantom Pain, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, or Metal Gear Solid 5.5, so to say. He's hinted at that, or there. Chinaman, I have no opinion. No, he gets a D rank, sorry, he gets a D rank. Chris Jenner gets a D rank as well. The CIA director, oh god. The CIA director gets an F rank. He's one of the people who's present with the President of the United States when Big Boss returns from his mission, and he's one of the people who is against the Patriots. As far as I remember, he's against the Patriots, and he's against the Big Boss being praised like that. He's CIA director, but also part, you could say, politician at the same time. He's a pretty much unlikable character. At least I don't like him. Code Talker gets a A rank, and he's the leader of the A rank. Code Talker is useless because he can't move. He has a wheelchair, but he reveals to Big Boss. He's a Navajo. He's a Indian, Native American, Native Indian, or Native American. Sorry. Why do you say still Indian? It's just because we went to America and thought it was India, and that's why we call them Indians. In Germany, you still say Indians if you mean the Indianer, you mean the Native Americans, you mean the natives in America. You still say Indiana when it's like Halloween or whatever. You dress up as a Native American. It's Indiana. It's Indian still. It's not true, of course. So I was talking shit there. Kotak Talker is a Native American, a native. He speaks with a nice accent. He has a cool voice. He is nearly blind in some moments, but at the same time, in some moments, he can suddenly see clearly. He is infested with a parasite, the vocal parasite, knows everything about it, and he knows how to stop the vocal parasite. He is able to cure Big Boss's staff once, but cannot help them a second time because the parasite has evolved, and he cannot help them a second time, and does his best to do so. He is rescued in one of the coolest missions. You infiltrate a heavily fortified mansion. Or fortified mansion. I have no problems walking in there, even at easy difficulty. At hardest difficulty, I just walk in there and just rescue him easily. I don't care. But it's a fortified place and it's pretty cool. But of course, it's, as I said, he's in a fortified place. You have to walk into a basement. Everywhere there is candles. He gives a peace pipe to Big Boss, who smokes it, and that numbs the parasite, so Big Boss is able to speak. If you're infected by the parasite, he reveals, if you speak your language, and that language is sadly the language of the parasite, you basically cause them to breed, and this breeding eventually causes your death, because the parasite multiplies and lays eggs and multiplies and procreates, and you're basically dying after you spoke. And the more you speak, the more you speak, the faster you die. No, it was just one word in your native language can trigger the copulation and the procreation of the parasite. For me, that wouldn't be much of a problem if the German parasite infested me, because I speak English like pretty much 90% of the time, because I'm online 90% of the time. But yeah, Code Talker, very good character, very cool, but he doesn't get an S tier because he is combat-wise useless. He's an old man in Navajo, but he's pretty cool, but useless. He speaks cool, and he speaks with Quiet, who also speaks his words, and he reveals that he has the same powers pretty much, or the same infestation as Quiet. He can use the parasites and his powers to spot injuries to his own body, and he can spy on others. He can use the parasites and his powers basically to spy on other people. He can reveal secrets using them, and when he uses them, he gets the same black face tattoo around his eyes, on his face and around his eyes, like a butterfly-like tattoo around his eyes. That is pretty much just a mimicry of the parasite body, or the body of the parasite, that he gets that as a face tattoo as well. So that looks pretty cool and pretty shocking when you see that the first time. He's a very good character, very shocking, and he has many shocking scenes, like when he speaks Navajo and Quiet replies, and he's shocked. The player is equally shocked when you see that. Cool character, gets an A tier. Colonel AI gets A tier as well. The AI Colonel is goofy because at first he is the normal Colonel. He guides Raiden through his mission, and then reveals himself to be just an AI that snaps completely. He snaps completely. The AI Colonel essentially becomes not insane, but how do you say that? He starts rambling about things. He starts, because the AI is getting corrupted, he starts rambling about weird ass things. So just the goofiness of the fake Colonel gets A rank. Commander, I have no clue who that is. Who's that supposed to be? If you just say Commander, nobody remembers this. It's not Pliskin, so it's that. E rank, I can't tell you. Courtney, I have no clue. Crying Wolf gets a B rank. Villain, boobies, part of a dangerous squad, able to or trying to hug Snake. Pretty cool character. Cunningham, he's a black guy. I like him. He's strong. I don't even know who that guy is, but he's black, he has a mustache, and he looks like Mr. T a little bit, so he gets a C. D-Dog. D-Dog gets an A, and lowest A. Why is that? D-Dog is a cool puppy you rescue. He has only one eye, and he gets an eye patch, like the same eye patch as a Big Boss. He's rescued, trained by a Revolver Ocelot, who is an ocelot raising hounds, which is pretty funny for Big Boss. But D-Dog constantly gets in the way. He alerts you to enemies, and he spots them temporarily. He reveals enemies temporarily. He is a cool character, but when you lay down and pull out your pistol to snipe, or your lethal slug shotgun, the S2000 shotgun, with lethal slugs that instantly one shot kills everybody, basically. If you take aim with that, D-Dog will lay down. Go prone with that weapon. Go prone with that weapon and take aim at a soldier. 100% guaranteed. D-Dog will go prone and crawl in front of your gun, and if you shoot, you will kill him. There is no doubt about that. It always happens to me. D-Dog, as soon as you crouch or crawl in prone position, D-Dog gets in the way, gets shot, and then you lose reputation with him. On the other hand, if you level him up, he gets a cool Firefox outfit, like a fox with really orangish, yellowish coat. Looks pretty cool. He can be outfitted with a harness that holds weaponry and actually disable people or kill them. But that doesn't make him S tier because he's hindered to being S tier would require him to be intelligent and stay behind the player. But since he always crawls into your sights and you always shoot him, and sometimes even in the sniper scope you try to snipe, he starts getting in front of you, lays down, and then the worst thing they can do starts peeing in front of you while you're sniping. He pees on your gun essentially and you shoot him. That's the usual outcome taking D-Dog. I take D-Dog for the memes, but I take Quiet or even go solo. Don't take D-Dog, he's just an A tier. Fuck that guy. D-Horse. D-Horse, the same thing. D-Horse has no offensive capabilities. D-Horse allows fast locomotion. You can hang off the side of D-Horse to hide yourself from soldiers so you're not spotted. D-Horse can be called, and you can load somebody on the back of it. You can extract D-Horse with a Fulton when you leave the helicopter, because D-Horse doesn't fit in the escape helicopter, so he gets Fultoned when you leave the mission area. He gets an A rank, and he's before D-Dog. Or actually, D-Horse gets an S rank, because D-Horse carries hard. Literally, he carries you hard. Dalton, Dan, Dave Copeland. Decoy Octopus is a good villain. He gets a C rank in front of Cunningham. Decoy Octopus is never shown in the game at all. In Metal Gear Solid 1, Decoy Octopus immediately takes over. And before the insurrection starts, or as the insurrection starts, he takes over the body of the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson. He kills the DARPA. The DARPA chief dies due to the torture from Ocelot. Decoy Octopus extracts the blood because Decoy Octopus has a weird bodily ability. That ability allows him to shape his face, his entire body, change his skin color. That's why he's called Decoy Octopus. An octopus can change its skin color and skin texture, and can squeeze into different shapes as well, and squeeze into narrow spots. Decoy Octopus cannot do that, but he can squeeze basically into his body into shape, so it looks like somebody else. Decoy Octopus even goes as far as extracting the blood of his victim or his target and injecting it into his own body, and his body does not reject the blood. So you can do anything but a DNA test. You can do a blood test and it will come back positive. You can do an eye exam or eye scan, retinal scan, and it will come back positive. You can do anything but a DNA test. The only thing that would reveal him would be a DNA test, but he can change his skin color, the blood can be exchanged, and everything in his body other than the DNA itself. Pretty cool guy, C rank villain. Doesn't deserve a B tier because he doesn't have boobies. So yeah, no opinion. Dirty Duck, one of the villains. He goes in front of Decoy Octopus because he's one of the defining characters of the first Metal Gear game. The DoD officials goes in trash because he's on the same page as the CIA director. Basically, they're with the president, congratulating Snake on his good mission, and basically also against the formation of Foxhound. Fuck that guy. Doctor with a K, the German doctor. I have no clue who the doctor is. He gets a unknown. Dolzaev, I have never played that game where he's in. I don't know. Donald Anderson, the DARPA chief. S tier, definitely. The DARPA chief is this S tier. Even though he's already long dead when you meet him in Metal Gear Solid, as Solid Snake, he works together with Big Boss in the first assignment, as a tech guy, as an engineer and tech guy, an IT guy, allows you to save the game, just like Mei Ling does later on in Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid 1. And I said later, because Donald Anderson is a young guy during Metal Gear Solid 3, because Metal Gear Solid 3 is set in the past. And Metal Gear Solid 1 is set in the future. So, yeah. Donald Anderson is a tech guy. He has cool phrases on his lips. And he tries to resist Revolver Ocelot's torture in the end, to the point that he dies and is then replaced by Decoy Octopus. A cool guy with snappy phrases, who's sometimes shocked at Snake's behavior and sometimes impressed with what Snake or Big Boss does. Cool guy, S tier. Dr. Constantino is in the Cyprus Greek hospital, where, spoiler alert, Big Boss and the medic Venom Snake are located, and he tends to both of them and is tasked to keep the identity of, or it's not tasked, but he keeps, or he aids in keeping the identity of the true Big Boss secret or safe. He's easily taken care of and killed by Quiet, but until that point, he teaches you how to move. He reveals to you how your body was mangled and injured and how scarred you are. He reveals to you how you look and lets you change your appearance for multiplayer, or you change your character's looks and make a character for your multiplayer game. He argues with his nurse about the procedure of the treatment on several patients, as well as Venom Snake or Big Boss. And he carries the series, so he's a B rank. He's a supporting character that's B rank. Dr. Emmerich, which one? Which Emmerich is that supposed to be? Is that Yui? I'm gonna have to look through here, hold on. Emma Emmerich, the Fear, Jean, I have to look through here. Yui? No, it's not Yui. Where is he? Why couldn't they sort this? Oh. Why is Volgin in here twice? I'm confused, but I'll keep this. I'll keep this the way it is right now. Otacon. So we have Otacon and Yui. So this must be the father of Yui. Gets a D tier. I don't know anything about this guy. This guy is, as you see from a painting, he's in a picture. He's only shown in a picture and reference to. He's a pretty much a relevant character. Dr. Fleming gets a D tier, E rank as well. Or he actually gets an F tier. No, he gets a D tier. E tier. Q Marv, E as well. Koppeltorn just makes no sense to me. I don't have a clue. Dr. Madnar, Metal Gear Solid original game. He gets a B rank. Sokolov, up with him, B rank. they're both basically the doctors in this game, the doctors in this fucking game, I swear to God, in the series, I mean, doctors and doctors and professors and senators and politicians and medicine, like doctors in medicine or doctors in biology and engineering and such. Doctors and politicians are the key point. They're always villains or good guys. Sokolov, responsible for the development of the Shagohod. Madnar, responsible for Metal Gear in the original game. Boom. It's like a red line throughout the series. Doctors always have to be like villains, so to say, that are unaware or unwilling of their villainy, or irrelevant, or not irrelevant, like you could say ignorant to their villainy. So it's astounding. It's astounding. So Sokolov, Metal Gear Solid 3 character, gets the same category as Dr. Madnar. He even is in front of Madnar. No, he's not in front of Madnar, because Madnar was the first Doctor. There we go. Yeah. Boobies. Still in... Yeah, boobies. Goes in the middle between the two old men. Drebin. Oh, God. Drebin's a douchebag. Drebin is actual trash. Drebin is in Metal Gear Solid 4. Snake is an old man by the plot of Metal Gear Solid 4. Solid Snake, that is. Solid Snake is the protagonist of the first two Metal Gear games. The third Metal Gear game, which is Metal Gear Solid, or actual Metal Gear game, which is Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation, and later on computer, PC. Metal Gear Solid, the first Metal Gear Solid game. The others are Metal Gear games. The other two are Metal Gear. This is Metal Gear Solid. What was I getting at? Oh yeah. He meets Solid Snake as a contact, kind of, and teaches him that in Metal Gear Solid 4 weapons are locked. You can't fire a weapon because it's coded to be nanomachine coded, so the nanomachines is injected into soldiers to track them, control them, partially, or that's a plot that's also used, but not control them, but control or observe their body functions and track them, so you can always have soldiers perform the best. These nanomachines can also enhance the soldier's abilities to sleep less, repair damages in a certain extent, and so on. Perform best. That's nanomachines. And the nanomachines block weapon usage on the battlefield. So weapons that are classic and not hard-coded or encoded can be fired, like classical AKs, but modern guns, the most modern guns, they're top tier and they are encoded and they cannot be fired unless you have the correct code in your nanomachines. Drebin injects Snake with a nanomachine shot that is allowing him to operate modern guns, but what he doesn't say is that this shot mostly contains a viral agent, a virus that eventually will cause the death of Solid Snake. Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid is injected with nanomachines and a virus. The virus injected by Naomi Hunter was done in revenge and supposed to kill Snake as well as the other terrorists. It's a bio-coded virus that attacks Snake and his clone brother. Snake survives because the virus doesn't work on him, so he has basically infinite life. He ages a little bit faster. As it's explained, he ages a bit faster, but he's not dying from it. But Drebin injects Snake with an actual modified fox dye, that's what it's called, fox dye virus, and this will cause Snake's death in a rapid manner in a few years. Drebin is actual trash. He has a little monkey that's cheeky and smokes cigarettes and drinks soda and steals apples and such. The monkey is cool, but at the same time hideous and disgusting and stupid. Drebin drives around in a modified, not LAV. What is that vehicle called? Hold on, I have it. In a modified Striker. The vehicle is a Striker, a 8-wheeled tank, 4 wheels on both sides. Yes, a 4-axle, 8-wheel, 8x8 is it, or 8x4, or 4x8? I can't remember. Anyways, it's irrelevant. He drives around in a military vehicle that was modified to hold his guns and his equipment, and he drives in this armored military vehicle. Pretty cool, but he's a douchebag, he's an asshole, and he essentially causes the death of Solid Snake. He's a douchebag. He deserves to be trash. Edie, I have no opinion. Eliza, I have no opinion. Ellen Madnar, the daughter of Dr. Madnar, she gets a C rank because she's rather irrelevant, so to say. Emma Emmerich, trash or S? That's a good question. D. The top of D, though. Come on, move it. There you go. Emma Emmerich is how old is she? 14? 14 or 15. She's a teenage prodigy, so to say. A hyper-intelligent computer expert. The, I think, adopted sister of Hal Emmerich. Daughter of Huey Emmerich. Who drowns himself and kills himself, but we'll get to that. And Emma almost drowns the same way by accident because because Hal is not watching her, and Hal is blamed by her, and he blames himself. It's a toxic relationship between the two of them. Emma is scared of water because she almost drowned, and because their father drowned. Emma is scared of bugs, as many girls are, but she is scared of little bugs, cockroaches and such, or sea bugs. She makes for one of the goofiest encounters because you can just tranquilize her, shoot her with a tranquilizer gun and carry her around or drag her around, or you can put her in a chokehold and either break her neck by accident if you click it too many times, or just drag her around. You can save her in many ways. She creates a computer virus that is supposed to destroy or at least halt or slow down the progress of Arsenal Gear, the, so to say, Metal Gear, or the inanimate antagonist of Metal Gear Solid 2. She is taken hostage by Vamp and saved by Solid Snake and Raiden in a dual sniper team. They are a dual sniper team, and they manage to take down Vamp, or Raiden is able to manage to take down Vamp with a headshot, but Vamp's fast reflexes allow him to stab Emma through the back of the spine, or past the spine, through her major arteries, and basically causes her to slowly bleed out. Emma dies, a horrible bleeding out death, but is able to inject the virus, but the virus ultimately proves nearly ineffective at the beginning, or nearly ineffective at completely destroying Arsenal, but it has a severe effect on Arsenal. She's a D tier because she's an Emmerich. The Emmerichs are, you could say, cowardly, weak, but they are very smart and very intelligent and very, very good in computers and in bioengineering and engineering in general. But they are weak as fighters. They don't really fit in the Metal Gear series because they're pretty much the civilians of the series. None of them can shoot and fight. The first Emmerich to use a gun is Yui, who uses it to kill Skullface, who is already taken out, and then Yui celebrates himself as the vanquisher and the hero who killed Skullface, goes with the program of them being coward. But Emma gets a high D tier because she's a sweetheart, but ultimately useless. The End. The End gets an S rank. The End is a sniper who's like over 100 years old, way over 100 years old. The End has a ghillie suit made perfectly to always hide him in every environment. You can see he has a headset on, and he has a Mosin Nagant rifle, a World War II sniper rifle, and he could use it better than any other sniper rifle. He could use it today and outperform a 50 caliber with it. I'm not joking. He is the best sniper that ever existed, but he's fictional, of course. So if this was real, if the story was real, he would be the best sniper who ever existed. He can detach and unlodge his eyeballs to turn it around quite a bit, so he's able to basically become one with the scope, so to say. He has perfect perception, and he always knows where his target is. The End sits in a wheelchair because he's so old, but once unleashed from the wheelchair, he becomes more agile and faster than Snake himself, than Big Boss. He is more agile and faster than Big Boss. He has no fighting ability, so to say, in close quarters, but he can throw flashbangs, and he can use his sniper rifle with deadly accuracy. If you hold up the End, he throws out the best camouflage in the whole game. If you quit the game and wait, or skip time by setting the console's time, your console, the game, Metal Gear Solid 3 is only on consoles, by the way. If you put your console's time forward and return to the fight, the End has died of old age. You can actually fight him and kill him without fighting him by either in the old days when the game came out, nobody knew this. If you saved the game and then went to sleep and didn't come back for a few days, you came back and started playing the game again, the End was dead. Because of old age, he died. If you skip your time, it does the same effect. There's another way to kill him. There is a short scene where he is seen in a wheelchair carted around by the minions of Volgin. He can be seen and killed with 2 quick headshots. If you score 2 quick headshots, you can kill the End, and the wheelchair that he has, in Metal Gear Solid 3, every enemy, every hostile, every boss, so to say, has a mini nuke in their jaw implanted in their body. If that person dies, this mini nuke goes off and explodes. If you kill the End, he explodes, and his wheelchair flies out of his ass, so to say, like a fucking missile, and it aimbots straight into you. So even if you kill the End in a cheating method or in a cheating manner without him even knowing you're there, if you quickly kill the End in the short scene that you see him, his wheelchair takes revenge, which is ultimately useless. The End is dead, but the wheelchair does decent damage. So that's why he gets S tier. He's perfectly camouflaged. He's a sniper, and I like sniping. He's an old guy. He has a beard. He's got a cool voice, and he is one with nature. Birds even come to him and sit on him while he snipes. He blends in so well with nature that even animals and even mosquitoes don't attack him. Animals don't attack him, they befriend him, so to say. He is ignored by wildlife, so to say. He blends in so well, he's seen as part of the wildlife. He wishes for a death, actually. He has something in mind with another character from the series, or multiple characters from the series. He actually wishes for a quick death, or a death by a sniper. He actually wishes for death. That makes him S tier. He's a true hero. Etepe. Etepe is D rank. Etepe is actually F rank. He's one of the child soldiers under Eli, aka, I'm not gonna say who it is. Well, Eli, I already spoiled it. If you know, then you know. He is, hold on. Is he also in the list? I haven't seen him in the list. Hold on. I haven't seen him in the list. Wait. Are they missing the most important character? They are missing the most important character of the series. No, Liquid Snake. There he is. He is, Eli is the true name of Liquid Snake. Eli is their commander. You can see Eli's red beret on the right side of the picture here. He is one of the child soldiers. He is F tier because he's ultimately useless. He's actually useless. He doesn't have any abilities other than taking guns and pointing guns at people. He's a child soldier. He should be a normal child. That makes him F. It makes him F rank because he's actually proud to be a child soldier, like all of them are. Eva gets an A rank. She is Metal Gear's Ashley Graham. If you know Resident Evil 4, you know. She is Metal Gear's Ashley Graham, basically. Eva is the contact of Big Boss during Metal Gear Solid 3. She is a booba girl because she wears a bikini, basically. A bikini top only over her working overalls. She has a Mauser C9 pistol. A very powerful pistol. She supplies Snake with his firearm, but Snake is more in love with the firearm and more focused on the firearm than on her boobies. She does fan service. She has sex with Big Boss, as is implied at least. They have sex together. But she can drive a motorbike with a sidecar in which Snake sits and uses an RPG from, but she is ultimately wounded so hard that she cannot move, and you have to constantly throw her food in order to keep her satiated. She's complaining a lot. She is the typical woman soldier in Metal Gear. So to say, you could say weak, but also strong at the same time. It's hard to explain. She is one of these goofball characters that you want to take care of, and she ultimately betrays Big Boss. Big Boss holds the microfilm from Shagohod. They spend a night together. Another one. She takes the microfilm and disappears to never be seen again until the end of another game, if I remember correctly. So Eva is never seen again for a long time. She betrays Big Boss, still says she loves him, but she betrays him. There is actually a funny, goofy videos. There's a game that comes with it. There is funny, goofy videos that are, or official videos that are actually alternative storytelling. And in that, she does an insane stunt in that last night. I can't remember what it is, but it's fucking funny as hell. So she deserves an A tier, not S tier, because she betrays Big Boss. She uses him and betrays him. But she is before Armstrong, but below Code Talker, because Code Talker carries hard. Fat Man. Laugh and grow fat. A top tier villain. Fat Man has a competition with, what was his name? I can't remember his name. We'll find him. Stillman. Peter Stillman? Is it Stillman? Laughing Octopus. Granin. Malak. Peter Stillman. Here he is. Peter Stillman, yes. He has a competition with Peter Stillman. He hates Peter Stillman and adores him at the same time. Basically, as you can see, Fat Man wears a bomb suit, EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Suit. The Explosive Ordnance Disposal Suit that he wears is the full kit, the highest kit that you can have. This kit has a large collar made of Kevlar and reinforced plates around his neck. This usually has a helmet on top of it. And that helmet is or the whole outfit is made in such a way that you can only see a tiny little bit of your field of view, but it protects you from blasts. If you're blown up in an explosive ordnance disposal suit, an EOD suit like this, if you're blown up, you still die if you have a real bomb that blows up. But the chances that you survive mangled and severely crippled are high. Of course, a smaller bomb won't touch you at all. And of course, if the bomb is about to go off and you run away, you cannot die, basically. You won't die because this thing protects the whole body completely. So it's meant to protect you, but it's only physical. It's only mental protection. If there's a big bomb going off, you're the same dead as, if you didn't wear a suit like that. He wears roller skates in Metal Gear Solid 2. He wears roller skates. Skates around on them. He has, I think, a PM Makarov pistol. Skates around and plants bombs. He has planted bombs on the so-called Big Shell. The Big Shell is a cover-up for an oil spill, but underneath it, Arsenal is stored, basically, and Arsenal is a large floating hovercraft-like installation that holds an arsenal of small metal gears and has offensive weapons by itself. And the oil platform that's built above, the oil disposal or the cleanup factory on platform that is above, is huge and just a cover-up and disguise for what's beneath. Fat Man wants to blow up the struts of that facility, and at the same time also hopes to blow up Peter Stillman, in which he succeeds. He kills Peter Stillman and almost kills everybody on the platforms. He severely cripples the progress of all the forces that are coming to basically save or stop the terrorists. He succeeds in many ways, but is ultimately shot because his suit can only take so and so many bullets, and he's ultimately shot. He carries a wine glass with him from which he sips wine, and his phrase is "laugh and grow fat," and he plants one last bomb in an effort to stop his enemies, and the bomb is, surprise, placed right under his body. In his dying breath, he places one last bomb right underneath his dead ass. You have to drag his corpse off and freeze the bomb. Yes, that freeze. The bombs are taken out by freezing the mechanism, a timer. You shoot the C4 bombs with a stream of freezing spray, coolant spray. The cooling spray freezes the electronics, but doesn't set off the C4 because C4 is resistant to piercing, to shooting, to punching, dropping, running it over, to fire. It even melts in fire. C4 only goes off when it has an electronic fuse inside. It only goes off with an electronic fuse. C4 cannot be burned to explode. It cannot be punched, run over, shot. It doesn't explode like termite. It only goes off when it's electronically fused. So he plants those C4 bombs and they're safe to freeze. You freeze them and that destroys the bomb's mechanism permanently. Fat Man places a lot of these bombs throughout the struts and one last bomb under his ass. He uses roller skates and mocks the player at the same time. He's a cool villain. That's why he gets B rank. Actually, he gets a higher B rank. Not higher than the titties, but high B rank. The Fear. The Fear gets a rank. Or S? A rank. He's an A rank villain. I'll show you a picture of him close up. The Fear has animal eyes, orange animal eyes, cat eyes, pretty animalistic looking hair, and is basically able to walk like a spider. He can climb up trees and he shoots poison darts. The player destroys him by either poisoning him, by throwing him food. You can drain his stamina the same way he can drain your stamina. And if his stamina is low, he will go hunt for food. If you hunted everything in the nearby area and drop him a poisonous plant or a poisonous animal, something poisonous, he will devour that and poison himself, and then you can take him out easily. He's a cool enemy, he's one of the fearsome enemies, he's animalistic, and he makes for a nice boss fight, so he gets an A tier. Fire Trooper, another soldier from the original Metal Gear. Uses a flamethrower, as the name implies, has a full mask on, pretty cool. Pyro, everybody likes flamethrowers. He actually is the leader of the Fire Trooper, is the leader of the C rank for now. He will be later on replaced. Fortune. Fortune is an S rank. Fortune is the lover of Vamp, another character in Metal Gear Solid 2, and the mother to I don't know who. She is the mother to somebody, but I cannot remember who. She wears a skin-tight Navy SEAL diving outfit and a cloak over it, and she uses the most devastating and strongest gun ever that you will only be able to use in Metal Gear Solid 4. Is it 2 games later? Metal Gear Solid 2? Then it's 3 and then 4. I think, yeah, 2 games later. So 2 games after this game, after Metal Gear Solid 2, you're able to use the railgun that she uses. Yes, she uses a giant-ass railgun that is taller than her, is shoulder-fired or fired from the hip. She uses that railgun, which absolutely explodes everything it hits and does lethal damage on higher difficulties, one-shotting you. Fortune also uses a device that was given to her by Revolver Ocelot / the President, the main villain, and this is her namesake. She is untouchable by bullets. Fortune is untouchable by bullets. She cannot be hit with bullets because they fly around her. This is due to a gravimetric deflection device, a personal shield around her. That personal shield also turns out to be bad. Raiden shoots at her, the bullets deflect, and because Vamp, her lover, is standing next to her, one of the stray bullets hits him straight in the head and temporarily kills him, and she's enraged after that. Fortune's bullet deflecting makes it impossible for you to hit her in some stages. You have to use tricks to defeat her. She is shot and mortally wounded by Revolver Ocelot. Revolver Ocelot, Liquid Ocelot, the mixture between the two. Ocelot then gets in, or Liquid Ocelot then gets into a Metal Gear and unleashes a hail of bullets on Fortune, Raiden, and Snake. And Fortune somehow deflects without, like the device, she has a little device on her hip, on her left hip, that did all this, that deflected the bullets. That device breaks and she gets shot. She deflects all the bullets without that device, which causes Snake to say that she is Lady Luck. Snake really says, looks like she is Lady Luck. Fortune then dies, and Raiden has to fight the Arsenal gear. Fortune is a top-tier villain. She looks awesome. You can see the hairstyle. She has she's black, but she has golden hair in curly hairstyle, and she has a navy diving suit that is skin tight, and she has a railgun. Perfect villain and good character. Redeems herself by fighting Ocelot after she notices that he betrays everybody. So Liquid Ocelot, she's a S tier, even though she's a villain. The Four Horsemen, characters from original Metal Gear, they are the lowest here. The Fury, Bem, I know it reads. I know it's something else. It's probably an abbreviation. I don't know. I can't remember what it is. He is a B rank or C rank villain. He's a C rank villain from Metal Gear Solid 2. He ranks above Decoy Octopus, so they're in a row. I want to have it like this. He is mid-low C tier, simply because the fact he has this fancy spacesuit. He is a former astronaut, you could say. I think. He has a jetpack, and he is inspired by a character from an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, in which I can't remember the name of the guy, but there is also a guy with a jetpack who uses a flamethrower. You can faintly see his face through the large fire protector. He sets fire to a whole corridor while fighting Snake, and if Snake isn't careful, you can easily in seconds be overwhelmed and killed by this guy if you're dumb. But you can take this guy down lethally or non-lethally, and he can be taken down really easily. He reminds me of the siphon filter fight against Anton Girardot. Girardot is a French mercenary who also has a jetpack, not a jetpack, but a flaming flamethrower and a flamethrower jetpack, backpack, not jetpack, backpack. If you shoot the backpack a few times, Girardot explodes and goes up in flames. And the Fury, basically the same happens to him. If you kill him, he also basically ignites. And as he explodes, he sends a firing skull, a flaming skull towards Snake. The whole place explodes and collapses behind Snake. So with his dying blow, so to say, he blows up everything, and it looks menacing. So he gets a C rank. He's a nice enemy. Gina, I don't know. Genola. Is that actually... Genola! Isn't that from Variety Missions? That gets an S tier. If you don't know, Metal Gear Solid 1, came for the PlayStation and computer. I think it was PlayStation exclusive. A few months after the game came out, Metal Gear Solid Variety came out. It was the same game, but an expansion disc, basically. It was a DLC, so to say. Excuse me, I had to check something. It was an expansion. In that expansion, you were Solid Snake, or other characters. You could also be other characters, by the way. You had to clean missions to achieve points. In these missions, you just had to learn how to use a gun. It's like the training missions in the original game. It's just training missions. But Variety made it much harder, because you had special missions. You had to use a rocket launcher to shoot a certain type of enemies in a certain time, and this and that. It was a huge amount of missions. Like there was like a track that you follow, and when the mission's over, it zooms out and you see that you followed the path of a question mark, for example. That's one of the things. You learned to evade cameras and also had to evade cameras. It was an extreme virtual reality training course, so to say. And one of these courses had Genola, a giant gnome soldier, and this is what that is. A giant end boss. You can see it. It's a giant gnome soldier. The gnome soldiers have a FN FAL, a white Arctic winter suit, and a white balaclava. They're all, you could say, not clones, but genetically altered and enhanced material used by the doctors who made them, used from Big Boss. So they also have part of Big Boss's DNA in order to make them hardier soldiers, but not super soldiers, but hardier soldiers. And Genola is like a giant version of them. Kassler is one of the characters from Metal Gear. We put him in the C tier, and we put him up below the Fury, below Octopus. Below Octopus. Wait a minute. What? We put him below Octopus, I said. There we go. George. I have no clue who that is. I gotta be honest. Glass. That's one of the... Glass is one of the soldiers from Militaire Sans MSF. Militaire Sans Frontières. Soldiers without borders and limits. Or limits. Militaire Sans Frontières. That's French. He's part of Mother Base. He gets a D rank because he's not really used and revealed that much. Good luck. I have no clue who that is. Must be a new game character. I don't know. Granin. Granin gets a B tier. He is Metal Gear Solid 2. He tries to redeem himself, but of course he's a bad guy as well. He's a good and bad guy. He's as much involved in the Shagohod / Metal Gear project as Sokolov. He redeems himself, and he is obviously a good and bad guy at the same time. He has a very prominent face, as you can see. He looks a bit. He looks a bit like. His face looks not a bit like, but his face is like Genscher, Khrushchev, Gorbachev, Yeltsin. He's one of the characters you look at the face and you will remember it forever. He gets a B tier, and actually he should get a high B tier because Granin is a really good character. Gray Fox. Gray Fox S tier. S tier next to Big Boss. Gray Fox appears in Metal Gear 2, I think. He was working as an informant and co-player with, or he appeared in Metal Gear 1 and 2, I think. In Metal Gear 1, he is a character you save, an agent you save, and in Metal Gear 2, he is a villain. In Metal Gear 2, you fight him and kill him. This leads to the ultimate plot device of Metal Gear Solid later on. Gray Fox is the brother of Naomi Hunter. Is respected by Solid Snake and respects Solid Snake, and the two of them had a bare-hand fight to the death in the middle of a minefield. Because Gray Fox tried to stop Snake from destroying Metal Gear and killing Big Boss. Gray Fox body is recovered. He is revived and put into a cybernetically enhanced or cyborg state. He has an artificial body, but his mind and everything is still the same. I mean, you can tell from the way he looks that he's blown up. His one eye is blind, and he's heavily scarred in the... well, you can't see it, but he's heavily scarred. Frank Jäger is his name, by the way. Frank Jäger is his name. Frank Jäger dies and gives birth to Gray Fox. He uses a katana. He is antagonist, help character, the ultimate plot device of Metal Gear Solid 1. He slices through genome soldiers, has a hand-to-hand combat with Snake, and ultimately helps Snake to defeat Metal Gear Rex by cutting its radome, its radar, into pieces. And he's ultimately pinned against the wall by Metal Gear and then crushed and dies for real. He is the one whose death Naomi wants to avenge, revealing that he didn't even die. He reveals that he holds no bad sentiment, no bad feelings towards Snake, because they're soldiers. He just wants to fight him a last time, but then realizes that it's not necessary. It's better to fight along and be buddies. So he redeems himself. That makes him a super good character. Gray Fox, S tier. High S tier. What's this shit? Oh, that's a Metal Gear Solid 2 character. Gurlugon is Gurlugon, or play on Gurlukovich, and the Gon is just an added thing that Japanese do when they named the Godzilla characters. He is a Godzilla-inspired character, also from the variety missions of Metal Gear Solid 2. The same type of missions as the expansion pack for Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PlayStation, on the Xbox and and computer. Metal Gear Solid 2 holds another variety missions, and these missions are they're just fun or something. However you want to explain it. They are fun and I don't know how you want to explain it. These missions are just fun and gimmicks, so to say. And Gulagon is, as you can see, he looks like he has these protruding things from his back, like Godzilla. He looks like Godzilla, so he is like a pun at Godzilla monsters and such. So Gulagon S tier as well. Gustava Hefner, female character from Metal Gear, gets C tier. Actually, she gets a B tier because she's a female and she's from the original game, which defined the series. Gui Savage. Gui Savage, I do not remember. Rings a bell, but I don't know. Hideo Kojima gets absolute trash, and he's the leader of the absolute trash. Why is Kojima absolute trash? Well, long or short, I don't know what to pick. Kojima, first of all, nobody likes self-inserts. Kojima inserted himself in multiple games as character. Nobody likes that. He's in Metal Gear Solid 5 and Phantom Pain, Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain. He is available as a soldier, rather as a recruitable character. Nobody likes self-inserts. He is also available in Death Stranding. Nobody likes self-inserts. Self-inserts are basically jerking your own cock. Just, it's arrogant. Using or doing a self-insert is arrogant. It's just jerking your cock over, I'm the boss. I need to be in this. I'm the boss. I'm the boss. That's Kojima's problem. I know everybody sucks Kojima's cock because he's such a good writer and such a good designer, but Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain is basically the Hideo Kojima simulator, because every mission that you starts with game and design by Hideo Kojima, story by Hideo Kojima, Hideo Kojima, Hideo Kojima. I am with, and that's the only time I will be with, Darkside Phil, one of the reputable and notable characters who played Metal Gear games and is notoriously bad, and he's actually acting bad on purpose because that's his meme, that's his scheme to make money off of YouTube. I'm with him. Hideo Kojima is absolute trash. He's an absolute asshole, you could say. I do not like Hideo Kojima at all. He has the tiny dick syndrome. He needs to insert his name everywhere. Just because you created a game, you don't have to put your name everywhere constantly. And the self-inserts put it on the top. The storylines, you can see the storylines are so incoherent and so randomly thrown together. So many plot twists and paradox moments. And actually so many paradox moments that you can see Hideo Kojima had to expand from one Metal Gear game to the next, and he just pulls stuff out of his ass. For example, in 1984, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, we have holographic designs, holographic displays. We have time-accelerating cigarettes, or electronic cigarettes. We have laser pointers on every gun, high-definition scopes. We have Fulton devices. 1998, I think, it is 1998, I think, during Metal Gear Solid 1, we do not have any of that. We have optical camouflage in 1984, and we have the same optical camouflage in 1998 in Metal Gear Solid 1. Sahelanthropus from Metal Gear Solid 5 is 10 times more advanced. It has a cutting laser beam, it has a railgun, it has a highly advanced radar, and it can be autonomous without a pilot. It is 10 times more advanced than Metal Gear X. Sahelanthropus is older but more advanced than the other machine. The problem with that is the Metal Gear's development is linear. There is no backtracking. You don't make an advanced thing and then make less advanced. They advance forward and get more complicated each time. The only difference is Kojima had to put a dangerous foe into Metal Gear Solid 5, which came later in 2015, I think, or 2016 or something. He had to put it into a newer game, a game that's newer for us players. He had to put in a more dangerous foe. That's the only reason why it's more advanced. But story-wise and storyline-wise, it makes absolutely no sense. We have a much more advanced piece of hardware in the past. This makes no sense. And this is why I don't like Kojima. His story writing is pulled out of his ass. Everything's full of plot devices, stereotypical. The good guys always have to die. And the good guys are always the heroes and, of course, the unstoppable forces. Then, of course, everywhere is Kojima, Kojima, Kojima. In every fucking mission in Metal Gear Solid 5, every mission holds Kojima, Kojima, Kojima. And that's unbearable for me. I hate that. I don't like that. Hideo Kojima, absolute trash. Nobody likes self-inserts. Self-inserts are like patting yourself on the back. Oh, good job, good job. I'm the best, I'm the best. That's absolute douchebaggery. Nobody does that. It's faggotry. Nobody does that. Fuck this. He's an asshole. Holy White, soldier. Yep. Hot cold man. Look at him. How Coldman is in Metal Gear Solid 4, I think. I can't remember. I have to be right back. Hold on. No, he's not. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. I confused him with another person. But Coldman gets a A. The name is actually pretty cool because it's such a funny wordplay. But he is the responsible person for the incident in Peace Walker in is it Costa Rica? I think it's Costa Rica. He is responsible for the incident of Peace Walker. And of course the villain, and suffers the same fate as all villains. He's A tier for sure, but low A tier. He's a nice villain. Yui. Ho ho ho. Yui is alright up there with Emma, but low. Actually, I would put him at the lowest of D. Yui Emmerich is the father of Emma Emmerich and Hal Emmerich, named Otacon. Oh God. Yui appears the first time in Metal Gear Solid 5. In Peace Walker, sorry. Is a scientist who wants to help them. Yui Emmerich is against Snake's Military Sans Frontiers, MSF, grabbing a nuke. He's against it. They ignore him and grab a nuke. I will reveal what he does. Yui communicates with the enemy and they seize and destroy the installation because he communicates with them, because he wants to make sure that the nuke is checked out and an official side has confirmed they have a nuke. The inspection team that inspects the nuke is of course a invasion force that destroys Mother Base and is responsible for the death of a huge amount of personnel. Yui is a traitor one time. He's always loudmouthed, berates Big Boss and his staff, and appears back in Phantom Pain as well. In Phantom Pain, he appears as a traitor, or branded as a traitor, and is treated badly. He is tortured and treated badly. He is he can't move his legs, by the way, so he has to construct himself a device, artificial legs, so to say, to use his legs. He walks on a walker gear, and then later on he walks on artificial legs, and then he uses implants later on in his bones to move his original legs with machine force and machine help. Yui adores Metal Gear, or Sahelanthropus, and praises it as the ultimate machine. Yui destroys and kills Skullface after Big Boss spares his life. If you do that, or if the player chooses to do so, Yui kills him and then celebrates and acts, "I killed Skullface! I did it! I am the savior!" He praises himself as the savior. That's why he's the low D tier. Could put him as absolute trash. He helps developing a Metal Gear for Mother Base, an effort to counteract the Metal Gears all over the world, basically, or the other Metal Gears. He tries to use it as a deterrent, so to say. Now what happens is Yui causes a incident. He causes a radiation leak during Mother Base's solving of the issue with the parasite. He causes a radiation leak, and this causes the parasite to mutate and become immune to treatment. He is also very critical of Ocelot, and most importantly, Miller, MacDonald Miller. He is very, or Kazuhira Miller. He is very suspicious of him and accuses him also as being a traitor. Yui is interrogated with truth serum a lot, and eventually trialed to be killed, but Big Boss decides to just banish him. Yui throws his artificial legs away because he doesn't want those, and feels regret in some way, but he also at the same time, in a fury, accuses Big Boss of being the real one who killed their soldiers. He claims that Big Boss is the only one responsible because Big Boss gathered or got a nuke. This was the downfall of Peace Walker Mother Base, and this time the death of his men, his own men, is also on Big Boss and his decisions. While you are forced to kill your own people, your own staff, because they can't be cured, they become basically almost zombie-like. While you have to kill them, Yui is berating you and crying in your ears that you are shooting your own men, but you have no other chance. But Yui is crying and calling you a murderer and a hostile and a traitor, and he actually betrays everybody else. He's a traitor. He actually deserves to be trash, but because he is such a good supporting character, he gets lowest D tier possible, and I won't go any higher than that. William, I have no clue who that is. James Johnson. I think he is a president of something, I can't remember. He's A tier. He holds the nuclear detonation codes, something that is pretty much similar to, or the nuclear codes or something like that. He holds some sort of important code, and he has something similar to Metal Gear Solid 1, Baker, and others that hold codes for the terrorists to use to engage and activate Metal Gear, or aka the nukes, so to say. He has the same thing. He wants to die, basically. He wants to die. He wants to die because if he dies, the terrorists can't extort the information from him. Raiden wants to shoot him, and I can't remember what happens, but he and the president struggle, and I think Raiden shoots him, or Ocelot shoots. I can't remember who shoots him exactly, but he is a very cool character. He is basically the only thing that stops the terrorists from basically engaging the nukes, aka what the real thing is, Arsenal gear. Something he has in common with other characters. So he is an A tier. I don't want to put him in a B tier, so he's a low A tier like Hot Coldman, because he's such a cool character, and it's advanced graphics and mimics. He's one of the best looking characters. I think he dies to a heart attack, I think. That's what happens. He dies to a heart attack, I think. Anyway, Jennifer, I have no clue who that is. I'm so sorry. I am so fucking sorry for that. Jetstream Sam is F, just because he's a meme villain. He is actually a cool villain in the game, what was it called again? Revengeance? I've already forgot what it's called. Metal Gear Rising. He is one of these subordinates, you could say, of Senator Armstrong. Fights with Raiden and uses, as everybody else, swords. Meme character with a meme smile. I don't like him at all. Fuck this. Jim Houseman. Jim Houseman is absolute trash. Jim Houseman takes over the orders of the president in Metal Gear Solid 1. Towards the end of the story, Metal Gear Rex is destroyed by Solid Snake, thanks to Grey Fox. Because it took too long, tactical bombers are called to, I think, even nuke, but at least bombard the area and destroy the whole area in the Alaskan archipelago. Can't remember what it's called. Fox Archipelago, I think. In the Fox Archipelago, Jim Houseman calls the player and tells him that he will not recall the bombers, and he cannot recall them. It's on his own head, it's on Snake's own head, and that he takes the responsibility and that he cannot do anything. Jim Houseman berates the player and acts like a typical American politician. We don't want to do anything, we don't know anything, we cannot stop anything, we're just gonna do this my way and this way, and fuck everything else. We are doing it this way, and you have nothing to say in it. Jim Houseman, typical villain, you could say. Jimmy Harks, I have no clue what that is. I have to put everything in E rank. I have to put everybody in E rank, it seems like. Johan Jacobson, I can't remember. Is that this guy? Yeah, it's this guy. Okay. Is also responsible for Metal Gear, so we put him in D. Yes, the low D for the time being. Well, higher than Yui. Higher than Yui. John Turner, I have no clue who that is. Johnny, no, wait a minute. It's Johnny Sasaki, apparently, and that's also Johnny then. Yes. Whew. Okay. Which Johnny do we... Oh god, do they have John... Wait a minute. Do they have Johnny in all his variants? If they do, I'm gonna lose my shit. If they have Johnny in all his variants, I'm gonna fucking rage and cry. They do not. They do not. Johnny, this is the future Johnny. He gets a D rank above Yui and above Emria because he gets an E rank, a D rank, simply because he is a bad soldier. It takes a lot of effort to come out of his shell and to become a good guy. He constantly shits himself still, and he eventually marries Meryl. He steals Meryl from us simps. We are simping for Meryl because we love her, and he takes her away from us. Unacceptable. This is the same variant of Johnny, I think. It's the same variant, only camouflaged, so same level. John, I don't know. Sorry, John. Is that the same Jonathan? No. John isn't as a Soviet. I have no clue who that is. But this guy is also part of Meryl's group. He has a... actually, he is a B tier. He has a slight mohawk, kind of. And when you see it from the top or from the back, it looks like an exclamation mark, which is a nod at the exclamation mark warning sign. He's a heavy weapons guy of Meryl's group. He's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Jungle Evil, one of the original characters, also goes in C. Like pretty much all of them. Karen Hojo, I don't know who that is. Kazuhira Miller. Kazuhira Miller, definitely S rank with Grey Fox above the boss. The best boy, basically. Kazuhira Miller is a helper during Peace Walker, who also supports Big Boss and sticks with him because he wants this illusion of a world of soldiers that do not get thrown into wars, but instead the soldiers get used responsibly and at their own leisure. Kazuhira Miller gets severely crippled and almost dies, loses an arm and a leg, and is blind through the storyline of Metal Gear Solid 5, gets dragged to Afghanistan, where Big Boss saves him. He supports Big Boss as intelligence. He is perfect at interrogating, together with Ocelot. He is an intelligence gatherer. He gathers information about materials, about objects, about people. He is suspicious of Emmerich and wants to rather shoot him where he stands than allow Emmerich to be on the plant. He riots against Quiet. He wants Quiet to be instantly killed because he does not trust Quiet. He doesn't trust Big Boss's judgment when it comes to Quiet. He doesn't want to have Metal Gear on the plant, but cannot do anything against Big Boss's judgment and his word. And he finally gets his say when he reveals Quiet, who wants to be with the boss. He's very suspicious of her and doesn't want her to be on missions with the boss, but later approves of it. He approves of many things that Big Boss says is okay, but he doesn't like. And he ultimately gets his ultimate saying. He gets revenge at Skullface, who is directly responsible for the first raid on Mother Base, where Miller was crippled so hard. Miller gets revenge on Skullface by shooting him, and that's actually, I think that's the actual lore. When the player doesn't shoot Skullface, who's dying, in a certain amount of time during a cutscene, if you don't press the firing button, Otacon takes over. If you press the firing button, then Kaz takes basically control of Big Boss's arm and aims for the leg of Skullface and his arm and shoots Skullface's arm and leg off, and you see flashbacks of Miller's injuries each time. Miller gets revenge through Big Boss on Skullface, but they don't kill him. If I remember that correctly. Anyways, they don't kill him, or they kill him. You can't kill him or not kill him, but you get revenge on him. Doing that, you get revenge on him, cripple him, and disfigure him. Poor guy, he's already dying, but yeah, you disfigure him completely. Miller then is the one to outcast and to decide on Yui Emmerich's fate. He wants to kill him. He wants him to die instantly, as do the soldiers around him. He has one of the best speeches in which he yells, angrily yells, "This is the enemy, and he's right in front of us here on his knees." And Big Boss decides to banish Yui. Kaz is later on the purported instructor, or the alleged instructor of Solid Snake, or the instructor of Solid Snake and Foxhound. And after that, during Metal Gear Solid 1's incident in Fox Archipelago, he serves as an advisor to Solid Snake and the mission, but Kazuhira is later found dead, and it turns out that it was an imposter. It wasn't Kazuhira Miller. Kazuhira Miller is dead for a few days, so he was killed and assassinated, and, you know, it wasn't really him doing the mission. It wasn't him doing that mission. So Kaz dies a rather pathetic death out of nowhere, but until that point, he's a really good supporter, really good character. Kazuhira Miller S tier. Kenneth Baker is the president of ArmsTech, right? Kenneth Baker is the president of ArmsTech. He is D tier and higher than Yui, but low. Kenneth Baker basically is ArmsTech president. He holds a part of the detonation code for Metal Gear, or not Metal Gear, but the usage code for Metal Gear. And he is tortured because he was never trained in resistance of torture. He was never trained to resist torture, unlike other characters. He has a weak heart and dies to the Fox-Die virus that Snake is carrying in himself. He dies to that. Doesn't do much, but gives a good explanation of his company and what he's doing, and the arms race, and the nuclear arms race, rather. He gives a nice description of it, which also uses actual video footage, actual footage from history banks, history archives. So a really cool scene and everything. So yeah, Kenneth Baker, definite D tier, because he has no combat abilities. He's an old man with a broken arm and almost gets killed by Revolver Ocelot. So yeah. Kevin, I don't know. We continue. Kazim, I don't know. Kamzin, Kokami, I don't know. LA Clown, I don't know. Laughing Octopus, one of the girls who's after Solid Snake, goes with Crying Wolf, boobies, and skin-tight suits. Lena Arrow, I have no clue. Leon, I have no clue. Liquid Snake. Ooh, as a villain, S rank. He has to be really high S rank, above Donald Anderson, but below D-Horse. D-Horse carries. Liquid Snake carries the plot, so to say. Liquid Snake is the clone brother of Solid Snake. He is present in 1984 as Eli, a child soldier. He's a clone made from Big Boss's material, one of the clones, and the clone twin brother of Solid Snake. He has a very ambitious goal. He wants to, just like Big Boss, rule a certain part of the world. He wants to create outer heaven, soldier's paradise, so to say, and he wants to do so with the threat of nuclear weapons. He wants to acquire nuclear weapons and use them. That makes him very dangerous. He is very ambitious, very smart, and extremely dangerous. So Liquid Snake, definitely S tier. He is killed by the Foxdie virus, but his arm is cut off. Revolver Ocelot, who gets his arm also torn off, replaces his arm with Liquid's arm. This arm later takes over Ocelot, creating Liquid Ocelot. So Liquid Snake only dies when Liquid Ocelot dies in the end of Metal Gear Solid 4. So even after death, or even in death, he controlled stuff and things, in this case Ocelot. That makes him highly dangerous. Little Grey is absolute trash like Drebin. We don't want to talk about the stupid monkey, I already explained him. We don't want to talk about that. Machine Gun Kid, definitely carrying the C tier. He's carrying the C tier. He is the highest in C tier. The Machine Gun Kid, one of the coolest enemies in Metal Gear Solid, or Metal Gear. Malak is a mute prisoner who knows the secret to where I think where Metal Gear is hidden or something, or Sahelanthropus is hidden. He carries the plot, so he is higher than Yui in, or he's actually C rank, because he is a important character, or B rank because he can actually be a soldier as well. He can be recruited as a soldier in Metal Gear Solid 5, so he gets B. Don't know who that is. Mesha Genola. Just an upgrade and another funny pun at Genola, the Gnome Soldiers, and Godzilla, so Mesha Genola again. Mei Ling. Mei Ling is C B tier. High B tier. Under Chico, but above the villain girls. Mei Ling allows you to save your game. She is a fan of Solid Snake, flirts with him and has a thick accent, Japanese accent, so to say. Speaks English with a thick Japanese accent, and more importantly, she later returns in Metal Gear Solid 4 as a admiral or captain or something. She serves on board a ship, and this ship supports Solid Snake, and that's where this shot is from. She's part of the Navy, and well, we see her in face, or face to face, so to say, for the first time. Not over codec, over transmitted calls. We see her actually in person there the first time. Meryl is the best girl. Meryl is a girl who is the niece of the Colonel. This niece is present in Metal Gear Solid 1, incarcerated there because I don't know why she was there. I can't remember why she was there. She decides to dress up as a clone soldier, but her feminine figure gives her away. She is supportive of Snake and gives him a special key, which he can use to activate or deactivate Metal Gear later on. She is held hostage by Psycho Mantis and almost kills herself because he manipulates her mind to force her to almost shoot herself. She is shortly after that, she is friends with dogs that love her, huskies or wild huskies that love her. She is shortly after then shot by Sniper Wolf, saved by Snake, or not saved if you save Otacon. She dies at the hands of Ocelot. But you save her, she survives, escapes with Snake, and then becomes the leader of her own military force, so to say, PMC group, and you see her back in Metal Gear Solid 4, to which she replies, because Snake has aged rapidly and very badly, she says, "You've gotten old." She marries Johnny Sasaki later on, which should make her an A tier, but she's still the best girl, so she stays S rank. I don't want to degrade her rank even further. She's gonna stay. Miranda. Who was that again? I have no clue. Must be somebody from Peace Walker, I don't remember. From Ground Zeroes, I don't remember. Mistral. Is that who I think it is? Mistral is from Revengeance, from Rising. The Monsoon, also the same thing. Villains from Rising. I don't like Rising. Morpho. Morpho is one of the pilots. I think this Morpho is the pilot from Ground Zeroes. He's a supporting character. He gets a B. Mosquito is one of the soldiers that betrays you, but is also part of the original MSF. He survives and is thus an A tier, because you can basically either kill or recruit him back and make him part of MSF, your military group again. So he is definitely A rank. Naomi Hunter. B. But highest B. Naomi Hunter injects Solid Snake with the virus in order to kill him, but also kill the terrorists, namely Liquid Snake, because of revenge for her dead brother, Grey Fox. Grey Fox is still alive, to which she's shocked. She apologizes to Snake and tells him she can't do anything against the virus, it's impossible to cure it, and you can't do anything about it. So she is a bit depressed. She returns in Metal Gear Solid 4 and is a supporting character there, tells Snake about the virus and this and that her virus wasn't supposed to cause this and won't kill him as rapidly as it was claimed. I think she dies, I can't remember, but she's a supporting character, high B. Natasha Romanenkov, the best girl. She's an S tier, even above Meryl. She chain smokes, is Russian, has a thick accent, and she knows everything about weapons and technology. Every time you acquire and equip a weapon and talk to her, she explains to you the caliber, firing rate, the design of the weapon, where it came from and why it looks the way it is. She explains to you everything. She explains to you the tactics to use it with, and she even explains to you how to use what a box could do. Anyways, she explains everything in the whole game. She explains even how the cardboard box, how cardboard works and what cardboard is. And she wonders what's with the box. She gives you a long monologue about cardboard and then asks what's with the box, and Snake doesn't even have anything to say because he's so stunned about her information. She is a supporting character in Metal Gear Solid 1, S tier. Nicholas, I have no clue. Nick Meyer, I have no clue. Night Fright, one of the soldiers from original Metal Gear, definitely gets under the machine gun kit. Nemani, I have no clue. Number 104, I have no idea. I mean, I feel partially bad about this for not knowing about these characters, but at the same time, what the hell? Why do you include these characters that, like, I mean, I don't know. I guess you can include whatever characters you want. Nuke is a kitty cat. She is from Peace Walker. I think Parser's cat. She gets an S tier instantly. O'Brien. Who's that? O'Brien is... I have no clue. Ocelot! Revolver Ocelot. Ocelot, son of the boss. Yeah, son of the boss. A gunfighter under Volgin betrays everybody multiple times. Both the US and Russia. He betrays everybody multiple times. Ocelot essentially is such a fucking goat, aka greatest of all times. He betrays everybody and still comes out top all the fucking time. Ocelot is the GOAT. The greatest of all time. No joking. Ocelot is just so good. He has to be S tier. He learns from Big Boss that he shouldn't use an automatic pistol or semi-automatic pistol because it's not his style. He learns about his weapons, about revolvers. He then picks the most ridiculous engraved revolvers, to which Snake, or rather Big Boss, teaches him engravings have no advantage. And he then replaces them immediately with 2 plain revolvers without engravings. These revolvers, single action army, he uses throughout his lifetime, preferring revolvers over semi-autos. He can of course use semi-auto pistols and others, and in Metal Gear Solid 5 he even explains how to prevent stoppages and that engravings offer no advantage. But he says, pretty good, your shooting's pretty good. And he says, you're pretty good. And that's his catchphrase. So he learns in Metal Gear Solid 3 when he's young, he learns his lessons, then climbs KGB and other Secret Service or service ranks. He becomes a double agent or triple agent or whatever you want to call it. He becomes a traitor in multiple ways. He joins the Military Sans Frontiers, runs from there while it's dying, basically. He runs from there, and eventually he turns up in he betrays Volgin too, by the way. Then he returns in Solid Snake, Metal Gear 1 Solid Snake, or Metal Gear Solid rather, not Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear Solid. He appears where he is part villain. He has his Russian connections and supplies the terrorists with Russian equipment like a Hind and a tank. Or wait, the tank is an Abrams, never mind. But here he supplies them with a Hind and other equipment, and also skates before the takedown of the group. So he runs again, he escapes again very closely. He loses his arm in a duel with Solid Snake, while Solid Snake is saved by Frank Jaeger, Grey Fox, the ninja with the sword. And he makes it very clear that he's only in there to make Mother Russia great again. He wants to make Mother Russia great again. And he runs with Liquid Snake's detached arm to get it as his own arm. Ocelot later returns in Metal Gear Solid 2 and reveals himself to be Liquid Ocelot. Liquid's arm has taken over and he needs to take medication to keep that arm at bay, but Liquid Ocelot later takes over, or Liquid takes over and makes Liquid Ocelot. Ocelot steals the first Metal Gear to take it back, not for Mother Russia, but for himself. He later takes over Arsenal, but again escapes before Arsenal can be unleashed, because he again doesn't want to go under with the ship. So he always escapes, and Solid Snake runs with him, because it's Liquid taken over the body. So Liquid Ocelot and Snake runs with him. He is ultimately killed in Metal Gear Solid 4. He is a main villain, or one of the main villains, so to say. controlling the soldiers with the nanomachines and making them zombies and causing them harm and this and that and making them insane and controlling them, this and that. He has a fist fight as Liquid. Liquid's form takes over and has a fist fight with him. And he dies basically as a mixture between Liquid and Ocelot at the hands of Solid Snake. Old boy, can't remember. Olga Gurlukovich is C rank, but a high C rank. The highest C rank. Olga Gurlukovich is present in the tanker incident in Metal Gear Solid 2. She steps in the way of Solid Snake and wants to stop him. She gets incapacitated. Or killed. Or killed, one of the two, I can't remember. And she's the daughter of the person who leads the attack on the tanker. On the tanker. She, as much as her father, who's the leader, wants to use Metal Gear for herself or for their cause. They of course get betrayed by Revolver Ocelot. He betrays them. And Mother Russia. Olga returns later to reveal she had a son. Hold on, I'm going to be right back. Oh, she doesn't have a son, I remember now. She suffers the fate of every character, basically. I had to look that up, actually. She suffers the fate of pretty much every character who has a child. Her daughter is taken away from her and then raised somewhere else. She returns in Metal Gear Solid 4 as a cyborg ninja, as a setup made by the kernel AI. The kernel AI in Metal Gear Solid 2 basically reenacts Metal Gear Solid 1. The storyline is individual in certain parts, but also heart attacks, presidents, and this and that, and cyborg ninjas. It's all too much obvious that it's partly arranged like a plot. So Olga returns as a cyborg ninja and dies in pretty much the same way as the cyborg ninja Grey Fox. Otacon. Otacon is... hang on. Where did we put D? Otacon is the first and only member of the family of Emmerichs to be top tier. Or not top tier, but B at least. Reason is Otacon can't use guns. He is a coward. In Metal Gear Solid 1 is the first time he appears. He is the scientist working on Metal Gear and running simulations and thinks it's all a game and simulations until he learns that the terrorists actually want to use the weapon. He jokes about it because it's not possible. The weapon system is not ready. Otacon pees himself after being threatened by Frank Jaeger because he cannot take stress at all. Reveals that his name is Otacon. His real name is Hal Emmerich, but he is called Otacon because he is an otaku. Japanese manga and anime fan. And he reveals that he reveals his cowardness. He disappears with a personal invisibility and cloaking device. Meets up with Snake in the prison cell and gives him food, but cannot kill the guard or help Snake in any other way because he's too scared. Otacon suffers from Stockholm Syndrome. He is in love with a sniper that wants to kill Snake. He doesn't realize she's dangerous until it's too late and mourns her death. He finally finds his confidence when Snake and Meryl escape. He opens doors for them and helps them, and also guides them a little bit, and wants to stay behind the plant. He also gives Snake information about equipment, about the plant, and about Metal Gear, telling him about his weaknesses and how to defeat Metal Gear. So he carries a lot and is very important. He appears back in number 2 in the second part. Via codec, he gives Snake information in the first mission and orders him to take pictures of Metal Gear. That's what they want to do. He's part of an organization that fights and releases information about Metal Gears because they are dangerous weapons. He is part of an organization together with Solid Snake that fights the development and acquiring of, or acquirance, whatever the development of and existence of Metal Gears. He is present in the Tanker episode, where he supports Solid Snake and knows his identity and helps extract hostages and save people together with Solid Snake. So he's a true character. In Metal Gear Solid 4, I think he also appears again as a supporting character for Snake. As always, Otacon is a huge supporting character. He is responsible for almost the drowning of his sister, his adopted sister, I think, when his father remarried. The daughter from his companion, so to say, is his stepsister, so to say. He mourns his stepsister's death greatly in Metal Gear Solid 4, of course, and Metal Gear Solid 2, of course. He mourns the death greatly, and he grows from it again. He loses Sniper Wolf, who he loved, but who was a terrorist, and then he loses his sister, and he grows from both incidents. He grows greatly. He becomes a good man, and thus he's top of B. No higher. The pain. The pain. The Pain is a B-class or C-class. Yeah, he's a C-class villain under the Fury. I want to show you what the Pain is. The Pain is scarred, as you can see, and that is because he is best friends with wasps or bees. I can't remember, bees or wasps. Basically, he is, I think it's bees. He's best friends with bees. Bees come out of his body and surround him and shield him from bullets. He is insanely easy to kill and take care of. That's why he's C-class. He's in Metal Gear Solid 3. Tries to stop Big Boss, but he does so by standing on a pedestal and unleashing his hornets or his wasps or bees. He tries to unleash them on Big Boss, but Big Boss has so much water to dive into that he can easily escape the bees and get back on land and shoot the Pain. And the Pain is basically the easiest villain to take out of all of them. Palitz is another character from Metal Gear Solid 5. Not much to say about him. There you go. Oh, Paramedic. Paramedic is a interesting character. Hold on. Oh yeah, right. I had to look that up real quick. Sorry. Yeah, it's because she looks pretty much like the other girl. She was different. She is the supporting character who saves the game for Snake during the incident in 1960-something in the incident with the digging mole Shagohod. She's a S tier because she has the same snappy comments as Mei Ling does. She saves the game, carries you hard, and she is one of the founding members of the Patriots. Big Boss, Donald Anderson, and Paramedic are 3 of the founding members of the Patriots. Paz Anzazada Entrada. Pacifica blah 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 Entrada, whatever, that's her name. She is the best girl. She is able to use guns. You have a scene in the game that she appears in Peace Walker where she wears a bikini, and she even carries over to Metal Gear Solid 5, in which she basically is revealed that she died. Paz is a freedom fighter alongside Chico. Pretty much only a schoolgirl, you could say, but she is dangerous. She's actually a hidden or secret agent, so to say, and very dangerous. She has a beach episode with Snake, in which she flirts and is kind of playful, and that's just fan service, a bit creepy as well. She eventually gets captured again and is freed by Snake, but dies. But dies horribly. She is used as an infiltration device. Her belly was cut open and sewed shut during her imprisonment because there was a bomb put inside of her. This bomb almost kills Big Boss and Medic and everybody inside the chopper that they're in. Medic gets a piece of metal embedded in his head from the explosion and a lot of shrapnel because he's the closest to Paz. They are trying to remove the bomb from her intestines, but Paz decides to leap off of the chopper, but explodes in mid-air, way too close to the helicopter. They think they can remove the bomb. Well, she has one bomb on her, I think, and then they find another one that's inside of her, and that one bomb explodes and almost kills everybody, and basically is responsible for Medic being so scarred and having that piece of metal embedded in his brain. Paz carries the story. She is included in Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain as a ghost. Her spirit is existing in there. Nobody can see her, only Snake. Snake visits her and gives her mementos, to which she replies to, and in the end, everybody says, she's not real, she doesn't exist, and Snake actually realizes it's just a ghost, a hallucination, because he has this piece of metal stuck in his head. It's just a hallucination, and he lets Paz go. Paz is actually, story-wise, between Otacon and Naomi Hunter on B. Actually, since A is so unpopulated, she's actually A because she is so cute and important. Pequod, he gets an A rank as well, is next to Paz. Pequod is simply the pilot that you call in, well, Solid Snake 5, Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. Pequod is your pilot that you call all the time. If you need a pickup, you say, Pequod, come on, and Pequod comes and says, Pequod incoming. This is Pequod, we're about to land. And then they land and pick you up. Pequod is not available at some other mission, which is where somebody else gets, or he's replaced with another pilot. But essentially, Pequod carries you. He's later on replaced with another pilot. Is it this one? Yes. I think it's Queequeg, so we're gonna go out of our line and pull him here right away. Pequod and Queequeg are the two pilots in Metal Gear Solid 5 that carry you. But Peter Stillman. Hard choice. Peter Stillman is the bomb expert who eventually gets killed by Fat Man. He instructs Raiden and Solid Snake how to take care of the bombs threatening the plant. He instructs them how to use the coolant spray, or the liquid coolant spray, to disable the bombs, but he ultimately fails his mission to safeguard everything. He is ultimately killed by a hidden bomb, so to say, a very large bomb. I think one of the largest bombs in the plant. He is he's eventually, or essentially, he's killed by that bomb, and thus erased from like the lore. Raiden later on finds him. Raiden finds him in the water as a dead body because he exploded, basically. Well, not basically, he exploded in the scene, and he is found underwater. His final resting place is found underwater in the exploded strut, which makes it a very macabre and very bad scene. But yeah, he dies, and well, yeah, suffers a horrible fate that way. But he manages to instruct Raiden and Solid Snake how to disarm the bombs, and that's a big carry for me. So that's why he's an A rank. He also makes fun of Raiden's nickname, Raiden, because he says that's an odd name. He hears Raiden's nickname and calls it an odd name. That's where this man gets kudos. This man absolutely gets kudos from calling Raiden's nickname weird and basically making fun of him. He's basically made fun of, and that's why. Sorry, I had to be AFK for a sec. And he's made fun of, and basically that's why he Peter Stillman is such a he's such an odd character, and he is fun, but he is, of course, as I said, a very weird character. And yeah, the storyline kind of confirms it, or the way he acts and everything just basically confirms it. Yeah. Sorry, I had to check something. I'm already right back. Well, I was right back. I am right back. People Ocelot, I have nothing to say to that. That's just F tier because I just can't stand that. Psycho Mantis is present in multiple games. He is A tier. A tier villain before Armstrong even. Psycho Mantis is called Trechi Ribbenock, something like that. He's a red-haired kid who is not psychopath, but he's able to do psychokinesis. He is skilled in a lot of things. He's a wonder child, so to say. He's able to vanish, manipulate things using telekinesis and psychokinesis, and he's a very, very strong and very dangerous character. He appears to Snake in 1984 and is controllable. By that time, he is controllable. Somebody else can control him and use his abilities for him, so to say. So somebody can take control of him with their emotions and controls his abilities, so to say. Treachery Rabenok is used multiple times to control, most importantly, to control the Metal Gear Sahelanthropus. He's used multiple times to control that thing, and eventually escapes with Eli, who's also a child. He's a child back then, and Eli is also a child. They both escape, and he helps Eli and is his Liquid Snake. Well, Eli will later be Liquid Snake, and the two of them are good friends and help each other out. And Psycho Mantis later on appears in Metal Gear Solid 1, where he's killed. He manipulates Meryl, has psychokinetic powers, and uses his mask, I think, to keep his mind focused, I think. Anyways, he dies at the hands of Snake, but helps him in some way. So he partially redeems himself by helping Snake progress to the next area. He almost kills Meryl by almost causing her to suicide, but he is stopped, of course. But yeah, he sealed his own fate as soon as he joined Liquid. So he sealed his own fate, and he, of course, dies and cannot be saved or anything. So yeah. Liquid manipulates him at the beginning, at the very start, so to say, of their relationship. He manipulates him, but Mantis grows more out of that and becomes his own master, so to say. You could say his own master, able to control his feelings himself and not be manipulated and used the way it used to be. Very cool design, very dangerous foe, very dangerous character, and I like him. That's why he is a villain and bad, but he gets put into that high rank, so to say. He gets put in A, like that. Pyro Bison, I can't remember what that is supposed to be. Oh god, that's also a villain. I'm gonna put him in D because it's a bit lower ranked there. Python, can't remember that guy. Python must be a villain from mobile, I guess. Put him in F rank because I just don't like him. Quiet, oh my god. Quiet is the low S tier, simply because she is infected with the parasite. At the beginning, she's able to speak. When you first meet her, she has brown hair. She already has brown hair that's longer and differently shaped. More like a Sir Lancelot haircut. She kills the doctor and the nurse, and then proceeds to kill Big Boss, but is set on fire eventually by Big Boss and the other Big Boss. By the two Big Bosses, she's set on fire and has to fall out the window. She inhales a petal of flower, a flower petal, during her fall that's burned a little bit, and her lungs are burned. She only survives because she is purposefully infected with the parasite, the vocal cord parasite, that allows her to regenerate, but she cannot speak. That's why she stays quiet. She is a top sniper, thanks to her abilities given to her by the parasite. She is a top sniper, and she is very dangerous in close combat as well. Quiet essentially manages to essentially falls in love, or is in love with the Big Boss, and sticks around Mother Base after Big Boss finds and takes her out as a rogue sniper who's preying on Russian soldiers, killing every Russian soldier she can find. Tiki is her name. Quiet. Tiki is her name in some local or native language. Quiet is incarcerated and greeted by Miller, who dislikes her and wants to kill her immediately. Ocelot sees her usefulness and pleads for her staying on Mother Base because she's useful. Quiet is eventually able to join missions. She's interrogated, where it's revealed that she breathes through her skin, takes water in through her skin, and that's why she wears a skimpy bikini. I mean, she wears nearly nothing. Her boobs jiggle, her ass jiggles. She wears nearly nothing. When she's seen and visible, she wears nearly nothing. You can unlock an outfit for her that looks like Sniper Wolf's outfit, and other outfits you can unlock, Bloody outfit, and she communicates in humming. She's a perfect sniper. You can tell her to stun people or kill them with the correct weapon, of course. You can the player takes her on quests once she is able to join, and she's a valuable asset. Quiet reveals to Code Talker the first time that she talks in Navajo, in his language, she speaks, and tells him that she will never speak because she's endangering everybody. That's why she will never speak her own language. She will never speak because she's endangering everybody else. She only speaks with him because he's already infected. But she doesn't speak with anybody else because she doesn't want others to be infected, essentially. So she saves basically the Mother Base by not speaking, and that makes her a very good asset, very powerful, and of course a very good character. She basically saves everybody by not speaking, and that makes her very likable and very, very nice. So what else is there? Yeah, you have one mission where you have to save her. She is taken hostage and almost abused by Russian soldiers, and you can save her, then fight a combat scene off, and Quiet decides to speak. She decides to speak and call reinforcements to her position because Big Boss is injured and dying. She sacrifices herself, and she is running away, or she runs away into nothingness, and no body is ever found. Only her footsteps is found. Quiet can be re-recruited in the storyline. You can recruit her again, so after she's gone, after, so to say, sacrificing herself, you can recruit her again. That's just a fan service. Quiet is gone, or in the original storyline she's gone. You can just recruit her again because, you know, fan service. People wanted to see her again, so they can recruit her again, but she is gone. She carries hard, is a good sniper, S tier for sure. She doesn't get an S tier because she is such a fan service. Like, all around her, all the behavior, like the simping for Big Boss, her skimpy and, well, sexy outfit and everything, that's all a dead giveaway that she's just fan service. So that's why I can't give her a top S rank. She is the lowest of S because she, well, she is, as I said, just fan service. Like, literally she is. She's all around fan service. Raging Raven, one of the animal named characters, Crying Wolf and such, the booby ladies from Metal Gear Solid 4. Raiden, oh god. Raiden could be such a good protagonist, but he's just B. Do we give you the quick rundown or the fast rundown? That's the long rundown. I don't know what to do about this. I really don't know. Essentially, Raiden is a replacement for Snake in Metal Gear Solid 2. He is even called to use Snake as his codename. He's trying to be, or the simulation is trying to condition him to be Snake. He has a few overlapping things with Snake, but he has his own codename, Raiden. Raiden is a blonde guy who is very athletic, has a tattoo of Foxhound on his arm, and is very, very, or I think a tattoo of Foxhound or some tattoo on his arm, and he's very, very, well, agile. He is in love with a girl called Rose, who is his girlfriend and who also runs intelligence during the mission of Metal Gear Solid 2, to which Raiden is very shocked. But he meets up with Snake, who he doesn't recognize. He is a little bit suspicious, but he doesn't recognize it. He introduces himself to Peter Stillman, who mocks him. He proves that he can use weapons of all kind all the time. He proves that he can hold his own, but he's just a kid, basically. Raiden is eventually left alone by Snake to fend for himself. He is just like Metal Gear Solid 1. He is left to find a president who dies from a heart attack. He is left to be tortured by Ocelot, or somebody like Ocelot, or I think is it Ocelot? He meets Johnny Sasaki, who has to shit. Who shits his pants because he has constant diarrhea. And he gets visited by a cyborg ninja. Basically, he's in a giant, you could say, reenactment of Metal Gear Solid 1. He is later left alone to defeat Arsenal Gear himself and face somebody else. His father, the main antagonist, Solidus Snake, is his father. He has to kill the person and eventually survives. Together with Rose, he meets up, and Snake he meets up, and basically they all celebrate the destruction, or at least stopping, of Arsenal Gear. Raiden gets his own game after that. He is transformed into a cyborg for some reason, has new limbs, a katana, and he's an overall cringe character, so I really don't want to talk about it in this Metal Gear Rising. He is basically, he was a good character, but then the developers and Kojima decided to make him into a cyborg. I don't understand, I can't relate, I can't say anything more about it, I don't like it. Major Rykov, ooh, that's an S tier. You can take Rykov's mask in Metal Gear Solid 3. Metal Gear Solid 3, we are Snake in 1967 or whatever it is. We are Snake. Rykov is the subordinate of Volgin. He is a young officer who has nothing on his name other than being the lover and plaything of Volgin. Volgin doesn't allow any abuse towards him, and he uses him as a plaything for various sexual, well, partially abusive things. You can make a Rykov mask to infiltrate a specific spot in which you will meet Sokolov and get information about the Metal Gear system. Rykov oh yeah, also I forgot that. I forgot something. Rykov is grabbed by the balls, and by his testicles, I say, by Volgin, and this is the moment where Snake is actually found out that he's an imposter, and that's a scene that's similar in Metal Gear Solid 2, where in Metal Gear Solid 2, President Johnson actually thinks that Raiden is a girl and gropes his crotch and finds out you're a guy. I just had to say that. And Rykov is the same thing. He looks like a girl and is feminine. And Rykov is very abusive towards scientists and soldiers. He's very abusive. And that's why you're not allowed to kill him. I think you're not allowed to kill him. You're just allowed to take him out. You take him out and make a mask of him, or have a mask of him, and then you use that to disguise yourself for the soldiers and for the scientists so they don't spot you, they let you go. Rykov is just a utility character, lover of Volgin, and a very cringy character that, you know, we could have done without, but it was a nice thing. Red Blaster is a boss in the early games. Reef, I don't know who that is. Gets unrankable. Raiko, I don't know. Richard Ames. You're Ames, right? Richard Ames is a person who gets A rank but low. Richard Ames is, I think, the new ArmsTech president or ArmsTech member. He informs Raiden about certain things, and he has to be detected in a very intelligent way. You have to use a directional microphone to find him because he has a pacemaker, and this pacemaker allegedly makes a noise that you can hear with the directional microphone. So in order to spot Ames amongst all the hostages taken aboard the plant, you have to, well, listen to him. Ames eventually dies of a heart attack. No, Ames is shot, I think. He is shot in the shootout with Ocelot, I think. So Ames tries to save Raiden by saying that this soldier helped him by loosening his restraints and his blindfolds and everything, and Ocelot buys none of that, walks up to Raiden and uncovers his mask, and they all find out that he is none of them, and Raiden is thus found out and revealed. Ames dies, and we never see him again. But still, because he is A tier and he has this medical condition that makes him hard to find, or makes him not hard to find, but you need to use a special thing to find him, you can actually walk around all the hostages and say, "Are you Ames?" And the hostages will go, and if somebody else sees you while doing that or hears that, they all are alerted by it. So you need to actually find Ames by using that microphone. Or you remember where he is, but I could swear that position is random, but it could also be that it's not random and I was just bad at finding and remember where he was. Anyways, Ames gets, because of his medical condition and because of the fact how you have to find him, he gets an A rank. Roddy Lewis, I have no clue who that is. Rodinsky, I don't know. Roger McCoy, I don't know. Rosemary gets a D rank. The high is D, but that means nothing. Rosemary, you can take a good look at her. Rosemary is cute. She is sexy. She's Raiden's girlfriend and supports the player with information. She comforts Raiden when he's peed on and when he's abused and when he's hurt. She comforts him when he's inside the women's locker room to disarm a bomb. The Colonel and her both yell at him for being a pervert, which is very interesting because he actually has to take care of a bomb. So why are they like calling him a pervert for going in to save them or save everything? Like, he has to do it. But anyways, Rosemary saves the game, and if you're rude and if you do things she doesn't approve, she refuses to save, pretty much like Mai Ling does in Metal Gear Solid 1. Rosemary how do you say that? Rosemary, if eventually she decides to save the game for you, but as I said, she's a supporting character. Now there is a little bit of a downside and a little bit of a twist there. Rosemary, after the events of this game, is cucked, basically. The Colonel himself, I don't know if you have to actually have the real Colonel here, I don't see him. Colonel Campbell is his name. Roy Campbell, here he is. Roy Campbell, you see him here, during Metal Gear Solid 4, I think, in which Raiden also appears, Rosemary is revealed to be in the background. She is essentially revealed to be his plaything. She is basically his, you could say not sex slave, but you could also say sex slave. She is his servant. The Colonel is seen in the background as a sort of an advisor, or is seen as an advisor, and in the background Rose is seen. She is not allowed to speak to Raiden, and instead is ashamed and turns away. That's when Raiden loses his will to live, and is turned into a, well, you could say cybernetically enhanced form. I forgot that he's already turned into a cyborg, or cyborg-like shape, and he loses all will to live. In Metal Gear Solid 4, he loses all his will to live. And after Rosemary's reveal, or he's enraged, but Snake and the others in the group, like Sonny, can calm him down. Rosemary is cucked, that's why she's a D. She should be much higher because she's a good advisor, she's cute, and she has these hissy fits. She makes for a nice personality, like alternation, like a nice little twist in the storyline. Yeah, a nice little like alternating story and whatever, but the fact that she cucks herself and just sims for the Colonel and becomes the way she is just unacceptable. Really, really bad. Don't like it at all. Rowdy Ryko, that doesn't ring any bell at all. Roy Campbell. Roy Campbell is D as well, but low D. Roy Campbell is instructor for Snake in multiple missions. I think in Metal Gear 2, and then of course in Metal Gear Solid 1. He is the commander of Foxhound. He gives advice, disapproves of Snake's behavior at some points, and is always good for a laugh, but for also serious advice, and hurries him to complete his mission. Roy Campbell is seen in Metal Gear Solid 2 as an AI again, and in Metal Gear Solid 4, where he is in this state, older, and has Rosemary as his slave, so to say, and after that he's never seen again. I have not much to say about the Colonel. I explained the AI Colonel already, but the original Colonel only has a few quirks, is very serious person, a good guy, and you like hearing about him. And he's very proud of Snake in Metal Gear Solid 1 when you hear the dialogue between him and he says, "That's the Snake I remember." He's a cool guy. Running Man is another character that's very good. In the storyline of villains in C, he is above the Machine Gun Kid. Scott Dolph. Scott Dolph is D after Roy Campbell. He's a simple supporting character. He's the Marines captain of the operation that guards Metal Gear. The Marines Metal Gear. The Metal Gear Ray, he explains that to the soldiers. He is eventually killed really quickly by Ocelot in the coup to take Metal Gear back. There's not much to say about him. He's only a supporting character who starts setting up the plot for Metal Gear Solid 2. Nothing at all about him. Screaming Mantis, of course, the hugging girl that hugs Snake to death, tries to hug him between her boobs. Screaming Mantis is the highest of the cuties, right after Mei Ling. Very nice. Sergei Gulukovich is right after Scott Dolph, mostly because they die in the same moment, in the same situation. He's the father of Olga Gulukovich. He wants to take Metal Gear Ray for Russia, then yells at Ocelot because Ocelot and his unit betrays him and his unit, and everybody's just confused. So Gulukovich is basically betrayed, a sore loser, and dies the same way that Scott Dolph dies, without a chance. And yeah, he doesn't have much screen time, he's not very important, he's one of the characters setting up the plot for Metal Gear Solid 2. Seth, I have no clue who that is. Shabani. Shabani is the kid, is C rank. Shabani is high C rank, I would say. because Shabani is the kickoff for the investigation towards the parasite, the vocal cord parasite. Shabani is a child soldier who is basically taken and experimented on, and he is the key point that you discover the vocal cord parasite. But of course by that time nobody knows what it is, but he basically is the carrier for it, and he sets off the plot for the vocal cord parasite. Shabani's necklace is very important in the game as well, so that's why he gets C tier. Very important character. Shotmaker is another character from the original game. Gets in the middle. It's alright. Skorovsky, I have no clue. Skullface. Oh my god. Skullface is an actual S tier. He's after Ocelot. He makes such a fine villain, explaining the plot. A little bit weird plot, but he explains how he was dragged by soldiers from soldiers to village and never had a chance to learn a decent language. He even forgot his own language, so to say, and he wants to destroy certain languages and control the world that way. He steals Sahelanthropus, he controls nukes, he is responsible for the destruction of the first mother base, and MSF, he is responsible for everything. He is the man responsible for Kaz Miller's abduction and hurting, and for the death of Paz, so he's the ultimate villain, and his death is very welcome. As I said, he is eventually shot with his own gun by Kaz and Miller in unison, who work together, and he's killed off by Huey Emmerich, who then celebrates killing Skullface and making himself the hero. Skullface, I think, is Romanian and reveals the plot about the vocal cord parasites and how he wants to control it, and he sets up the AI-controlled, or Treji Rebenok, aka Psycho Mantis-controlled Sahelanthropus to fight Solid Snake. Not Solid Snake, to fight Big Boss. So he's a top villain, that's why he gets S rank. Slasherhawk, I have no clue who that is. Snake Clone, I have no clue. Sniper Wolf, oh my god. The booby MILF, you could say. She is up there with... Sniper Wolf is up there with Skullface. Even higher than him. She has a nice accent. Sniper Wolf uses a German sniper rifle, so extra props for that. She uses the PSG-1 5-shot sniper rifle in 7.62 by 51 caliber. A Präzisionsschützengewehr 1 PSG-1 is a very rare gun, very hard to find. It's not often used, because there's other weapons that are used, but it's from Heckler & Koch developed, a very important German gun manufacturer, and is just a very good precision rifle. I had to sneeze twice, sorry. She has a deep cleavage, and the first time she meets Snake, she shot Meryl a few times. She scars Snake to mark him as her prey, and later has a sniper duel with him. Sniper Wolf is surprisingly bad at sniping. I mean, she hits her target really easily, but she is very, very slow and very uncreative with taking cover, so it's very easy for the player to snipe her in the head a few times, and when she's defeated, she eventually slowly dies. She reveals that she was from a small village that was overrun by soldiers, I think, and the soldiers took her in. I think that's the plot of her, and Otacon had a crush on her. While she's dying, Otacon mourns her death and reveals that he indeed has Stockholm Syndrome. He's sympathizing with the enemies, with the hostiles. He's sympathizing with them. That's Stockholm Syndrome. He's taken a hostage from them. He's taken hostage by them, but he sympathizes with their goals. That's Stockholm Syndrome. She is so badly wounded that she's suffering. She wanted to explain her story to him, to Snake and Otacon. Otacon brings her rifle, which she hugs because it's the only thing that keeps her safe. That's the only guardian she ever had that kept her safe and she loved. She hugs her rifle and is then shot by Snake in the face, who kills her instantly, and her face is covered with a handkerchief. The wolves in the area, or the animals in the area, wild animals, start to mourn her death as well. You hear a lot of wolf cries, or husky cries, dog cries, whatever you want to say or call it, and you instantly feel bad for it, but she had to die. There was no alternative, and Metal Gear Solid 1 doesn't have the Metal Gear Solid 3's non-lethal taking out of hostiles. In Metal Gear Solid 3, you can take out a boss non-lethally, and I think you can do it in Metal Gear Solid 2 as well, but Metal Gear Solid 1 doesn't have that. Would have been nice if you could have saved her, just put her to sleep. But yeah, you can't. I think in the remake, the Metal Gear Solid remake, there's a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake, you can actually do that. You can actually tranquilize her, I think. So, yeah. Solid Snake, the GOAT himself, he's with Big Boss because he's the clone or son of Big Boss. I already explained to the majority of him. He's the protagonist throughout basically all the games, you could say, the early games. Metal Gear 1, 2, and Metal Gear Solid 1. In Metal Gear Solid 2, he appears as Pliskin. He calls himself Iroquois Pliskin. He has a beard, pretty much like, what was his name? Kurt Russell in Escape from L.A. and Escape from New York City. The name Iroquois and Pliskin is also inspired by that movie, Escape from New York and Escape from L.A. Very good movies, by the way. It's like apocalyptic, dystopian, end-time movies. You should watch those. Snake calls himself Pliskin, which is a very good giveaway because Iroquois Pliskin and Snake Pliskin basically is the name of the protagonist of those movies, which is pretty funny. Iroquois is later, very later, revealed to be Solid Snake, and actually dons his sneaking suit at the end, helps Raiden out, and runs off with Liquid Ocelot. I already said that when I talked about Ocelot and Liquid Ocelot. Solid Snake has a very funny scene in one of the Metal Gear, Metal Gear Solid rather. He sees Meryl, who has a 50 caliber Action Express Desert Eagle. It is Israeli Military Industries, IMI Desert Eagle. And he sees that that gun is way too big for a girl and offers her a 45 that he has, a SOCOM. The SOCOM is his trademark weapon. It's a Heckler & Koch 45, USP basically, with a laser aiming module at the bottom added to it. That's the that was the requirement for a SOCOM, a weapon that needs to be suppressed, certain caliber, certain amount of minimum bullets in the magazine. And it needs to be able to have attachments attachable to it, most importantly laser aiming device or flashlights. And that's what the SOCOM is. Solid Snake is very thrilled about weapons, and in this case he is very thrilled about finding the SOCOM. Or rather, it's better than nothing, but he would rather have a machine gun or use his fists, because Snake is an infiltration expert. That's why he's S rank with Big Boss. Solidus, S tier villain, right above there with the he's below the boss, but before Ocelot. He's after Ocelot, and after Sniper Wolf, and after Skullface. That's where he belongs. Yeah. Oh no, he's below Liquid Snake, actually. Solidus is the president of the United States and the genetical father of Raiden. Let that sink in. At the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 2, everybody thinks Solid Snake is the terrorist. It's later revealed that Solid Snake just got into the mission because he wanted to investigate what this shit means, because it's obviously not Solid Snake who's the terrorist, it's Solidus. Solidus tortures Raiden. He is basically the ultra villain. He kills a bunch of people and is allied with Ocelot. Ocelot betrays him in the end, of course, and runs away. And Solidus fights Raiden on top of Arsenal gear, using a suit with which he can accelerate for a short burst of speed with some flames left behind. And he can use 2 tentacles on his suit to grab Raiden and choke him and hit him. He's easily dispatched with Raiden using a katana. And, I mean, he dons the typical eye patch, like everybody. He's another clone of Big Boss, like Solid Snake, and he's also hinted towards in Metal Gear Solid 1. His fate and his history was already sealed in Metal Gear Solid 1. It took a few years for Metal Gear Solid 2 to come out, but in Metal Gear Solid 1 there's a discussion with a muffled voice of the president. Yes, nobody knows that you were the third. Solidus is what you hear Ocelot say on the codec call. You hear, and then Ocelot says, "Yes, I understand, Mr. President." So it's already set in stone by Metal Gear Solid 1 that Solidus is the third clone of Big Boss. Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, Solidus Snake. He's the third clone, and he's the President of the United States. That's all I got to say. He's S rank, but he deserves actually a lower rank. But since he's such a interwoven villain, he has to be. Actually, I just noticed what I made. Involuntarily, I put Big Boss, top left, top right Solid Snake, and then below Liquid Snake and Solidus. There's basically a square of the 4 characters that are mostly important. Involuntarily, I created like a batch, a pack of these guys, which is really cool. Really cool. I really like that. That was involuntarily, as I said, or involuntary. I just placed it like that by sheer accident. But yeah, this is indeed how it looks. Sophie and Drum, I don't know. The Sorrow. The Sorrow is a C rank enemy. He gets put above the Fury and the Pain. He is the partner of the boss, the lover and the father of Ocelot. The Sorrow the Sorrow is eventually, how do you say that the best way? He's shot in the eye by the boss because he wants to die. His ability is that his ghost lingers around. You find the Sorrow's dead body, shot in the eye by the boss. That's because he wanted to sacrifice himself. The Sorrow haunts Big Boss, in a swamp scene where Big Boss has to walk and shuffle through a swampy area and a little river. Big Boss meets all the enemies he has killed in his journey. They all haunt him as ghosts, and every ghost that hits him causes him damage. The Sorrow controls these ghosts, and you can escape the Sorrow by eating a fake death pill, faking your own death and reviving yourself. That's how you escape that nightmare of the Sorrow. The Sorrow is C rank because he's a good villain, but he's just doing nothing. He's the father of Ocelot, that would put him at B rank at least, but he's just useless. He does nothing at all. The Sorrow just exists. You know what I mean? He does nothing. He just exists, but he doesn't do anything. He has no perks. He has no screen time. He's like he gets killed before you even see him, before you fight him, before you even do anything with him. He's dead already. He's dead from the start. So that's why he gets C. Strangelove. Oh, here we get in the A ranks again. Strangelove is a producer of AI and weapons. She is responsible for programming the AI for Metal Gear. She is, together with her husband or her lover, Yui Emmerich, responsible for that. She is the mother of Yui. Yeah, she's the mother of Hal Emmerich. She is the mother of Hal Emmerich, a lover of Yui. Be right back. I think she is. I think she was. Anyway, I have to read that up actually. I have to look that up. Hold on. I think she's the mother of. Okay, apparently she's not. She's not the mother. I was talking bullshit. I remembered that wrong and differently. The mother, I think, the mother of Otacon and is not revealed. I'm sorry. But I know that she worked on bombs and on AI for Metal Gear projects, and that she worked with Big Boss together, and she also, is responsible for acquiring information from him as well. So she's pretty much a two-sided sword. Strangelove is working on AI, and that's her downfall. Emmerich, in a fit of like anger, you could say, locks her inside of a AI pod, and that's where she suffocates and dies. Emmerich claims he never killed anybody, but he basically killed Strangelove. Strangelove is responsible for programming the AI, and she also met Boss and others, and a part of the AI in Metal Gear Solid 5, and that's a very cute nod that I always loved. When you talk with the AI pod in Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, the AI pod actually uses the boss's voice, because part of like boss's voice and her personality was put into the AI pod. So Strangelove had an interesting twist and a macabre twist for basically reviving the dead that way, and basically her body is found by the crew of Kazuhira Miller inside the AI pod, and Yui denies having anything done there. So they're actually claiming, oh, so she killed herself and put her dead body in there herself, right? And Yui just basically is in denial that he did anything, but he is, of course, guilty for her death. Sundowner, oh god, fuck this shit. Another villain from Rising, fuck that. Sunny, oh my god, Sunny gets S tier. Sunny gets S tier right after the boss. Who is Sunny? Sunny is the meme kid. Sunny is the daughter of Olga, who we have. Where do we put Olga Golukovich? Here, Olga Golukovich. She is autistic, stutters, and has a bunch of other mental issues. She's a bit unstable and very scared. She wants to be a girl, but suffers and struggles with everything in life, basically. Raiden and, in some way, Solid Snake grow on her in Metal Gear 4. She learns cooking and likes to hum and sing a little song while she does so. She learns how to cook eggs. Of course, he burns them and ruins the eggs. She's also seen later as part of the, you could say, defense group, as she's a bit more grown up. So she is essentially keeps on being a contributing member of the force, so to say. But Sunny is the meme child, basically a utility in the in the plot of Metal Gear Solid 4. She's more or less a supporting character. I mean, she has a cute stutter and is very scared and very unsure, but she tries to stand up for herself, and later on she loses that stutter in her life. She later loses that stutter and becomes and improves much, much more. She's very concerned about Raiden. It's not that she has a crush on him, but she wants to make sure that Snake and Raiden eat a lot and are always well fed, and of course her burning the eggs and having to learn from Raiden how to cook eggs is quite funny and quite cute. So she's in the S tier, definitely, between the boss and Ocelot. Teleco, I have no clue who's that supposed to be. I don't know. She looks like Meryl, but blonde. I have no clue. Trenya, what the fuck is this supposed to be? A cat? Okay, I have no clue. This must be some mobile stuff. Ursula must be mobile stuff. Vamp, oh my god. Vamp is an S tier, but low. Because S tier, because he's a top villain. Vamp cannot be killed. Vamp appears in Metal Gear Solid 2. He is one of the villains and the lover of Fortune. Vamp gets shot in the heart and the body and put or dropped into a pool of oxygenized or turbulent oxygenized water, or whatever it's called. There's water that when you fall in, because there's so much oxygen in it, so many oxygen bubbles, if you fall into that oxygen bubbling water, you die, you drown, you fall, you just basically fall to the bottom of the pit. You just fall to the bottom because you cannot float in that water. There's so many bubbles you can't float. In this bubbling water, Vamp is thrown into and dies the first time. He then joins with Fortune, and the bullets deflecting off of her because of her deflecting device hit him in the head, and he dies a second time. Where the body and then in the body, and he dies a second time. He dies a third time when he holds Emma up with a knife in his hands and gets shot in the head with a sniper shot. He still manages to stab Emma. He still manages to stab Emma and mortally wound her and basically kill her. And that's the last we see of him, basically. He returns one more time in Metal Gear Solid 4. I think he's not killed off there. He has a fight with Raiden. He uses his blades to impale Raiden, who has synthetic white blood, and he licks the blood off his blade. He does that with actual blood from his blade in Metal Gear Solid 4 as well. He's basically a creep. He gets impaled 1,000 million times in Metal Gear Solid 4 until I think he's finally dead. I think he dies in Metal Gear Solid 4. Anyways, he's impossible to kill. Vampire, because he drinks blood, and he cannot be killed. He just can't be killed. Even with a headshot, he can't be killed. Very dangerous character, very cool design, but a creep, because he behaves so gaily and very, very flamboyant. He's very, very excessive. He his dancing moves. He spins on the spot. He throws knives while spinning. He's a dangerous and very curious character, but of course very, 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 very flamboyant and very, very strange to interact with. Yo, here we come. Venom Snake. Oh boy. Okay, this arranged it better. Venom Snake is the medic. Venom Snake is the medic who was, how do you say it? Venom Snake was the medic who was in the team of Big Boss in Military Sans Frontiers. He's in the same helicopter that explodes as Paz tries to escape with her bomb and explodes in midair because it's too late. He gets impaled with a piece of metal you can see in his forehead from this explosion and riddled with shrapnel, and loses one arm, or half an arm, and is full of shrapnel in his heart and everywhere. In the plot of Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, he is created as a distraction. He is led to believe that he is Big Boss, and the enemies are led to believe that he is Big Boss. So he is treated as Big Boss, and everybody treats him as Big Boss, and the enemies treat him as Big Boss, so the ruse works perfectly. Only a few people are involved that actually know who he really is, but they have to keep quiet. Quiet, the sniper falls in love with him because she thinks he's Big Boss and sacrifices herself for him. Venom Snake is a very cool character. He is voiced by Kiefer Sutherland. Very nice. And throughout his storyline, he does everything Big Boss does. He is convinced that he's Big Boss, but he's not. Of course not. He learns at the very end of the game that he isn't Big Boss by nobody else but himself, the actual Big Boss. He learns that he's just Venom Snake and that he has to make his own life for now. Venom Snake is the Big Boss that is seen in Metal Gear Solid 4 as a scorched corpse. After the events of Metal Gear Solid 5 in 1984, Venom Snake proceeds to build Outer Heaven. He is the character killed in Metal Gear Solid by Solid Snake. He is the Big Boss that's killed in Metal Gear by Solid Snake. His scorched and burnt and dismembered corpse is kept alive for medical purposes, for retrieving DNA from him, and from this DNA, Liquid Snake is created. Liquid Snake thinks he received Big Boss's bad DNA, and Solid Snake received... No, wait, it's the other way around. Sorry, it's the other way around. I think it's the other way around. Wait a minute, I have to look that up. Hold on. I'm gonna talk bullshit, but I think Solid Snake is made from Venom Snake. Is Solid Snake made from Venom Snake? Never mind. Okay. Okay. Never mind. Yes, I'm talking bullshit. See, that's why the story is so complex. Big Boss's genes were basically split. Recessive and progressive? I can't remember what the difference is. Some genes are dominant and some are recessive. Like the dominant genes are the ones that make you aggressive, and the others are like lesser genes, so to say. Liquid Snake actually received the better genes, and Solid Snake the lesser genes from Big Boss. Venom Snake, on the other hand, was led to believe that he is Big Boss, and he actually believes that he is Liquid's father, and the whole plot revolves around it. Liquid Snake thinks Venom Snake is his father and hates him for it. He hates him, while Venom Snake, thinking he's Big Boss, he just wants to be friends with Liquid, but Liquid just hates his father, who he thinks is his father. In Metal Gear Solid 4, they still have the body of the alleged Big Boss, who is just Venom Snake, and want to acquire it for further cloning, but the body is basically destroyed. Yeah, that's that. Have I turned on the screen again? What had I turned on the screen? Never mind. I've turned it back on. Anyways, Venom Snake is believed to be Big Boss, and Eva, aka Big Mama, who's in Metal Gear Solid 4, is grief-stricken as the body of her husband or her lover, Big Boss, is destroyed. She dies eventually, being killed, but yeah, I think she never finds out that it was Venom Snake when she dies, and Venom Snake is ultimately killed off because he's just a scorched corpse. Like only a torso and a head is left of it. Venom Snake didn't deserve that, but he was just a decoy, and he served Big Boss well. He created Outer Heaven and created a fantasy, and he did very well, but ultimately he was falling like everybody, like all these dreams. Soldiers aren't made to be independent, so yeah, he dies horribly. Or rather, he dies and then gets kept alive and has to be killed off by Ocelot or Liquid Ocelot, essentially. So Venom Snake, top character. Venus, I have no clue who that is. Victoria, I don't know who this is. This I have no clue what it is. This I know who this is. Here's a Virgil 80, that's an AI pod. I'm gonna rank that in D because all the AI pods are dank. Volgin. Now I don't know. Is this Volgin? Is this Boris Volgin? I have to look this up. Boris Volgin versus Volgin. Boris Volgin. Volgin. Okay. Okay, I had to look that up. I already explained Volgin's storyline, but it's not Boris Volgin. Boris Volgin gets put in D because he's a supporting character. He is father of Yevgeny Volgin, who is the Volgin that we put in S rank. This Volgin is the one who's full of electricity. You can see the scars on his face. You can see the electricity burns all over his face and body. This is the Volgin that I meant. We talked about him already. There's nothing left to explain. We talked about Volgin, but this is the one. The other one was the father. Vulcan Raven. Oh, that's an S rank. Vulcan Raven is a shaman, and he's above Gondola. He's by fortune right there. Vulcan Raven is a shaman who lives in Alaska, and he teaches Snake a lesson. He drives in a M1 Abrams tank when you meet him the first time, and this tank gets taken out. Vulcan Raven survives and confronts Solid Snake again in a ice-cooled chamber, in a cryo. In a cryo warehouse. He has a backpack that is a huge ammo drum for a M60 or M163 or what it's called, Vulcan machine gun. The Vulcan machine gun is installed on several pieces of equipment. I think the Vulcan is installed on the Cobra, but I'm not sure about that. Let me see that. Let me look that up real quick. M163 Vulcan. That's the tank version of it. M168 Vulcan. This is installed in AC-130, in airplanes. It is not installed in any helicopters because it is really heavy. Yes. It is insanely heavy. So this thing is only installed in planes, in combat planes. So yes, he carries a minigun that is too large to be a what is it, M190 or something? I can't remember. It is too large to be a minigun, 7.62 minigun. It has to be an actual Vulcan minigun, M61 or what it's called, M61 or M168. It's a huge machine gun. He has an ammo drum on his back and a huge belt that goes to the gun, so it's probably 20mm, and that would fit with the Vulcan machine gun. He runs around and shoots at containers and knocks these containers down, essentially blocking Snake's path. He has to be taken out with firearms or explosives or with rockets. Since Vulcan Raven can turn around really fast and shoot remote-guided rockets, it's pretty troublesome to kill him, but the lower his health gets, the more he starts breathing heavily until he finally dies. He's a shaman, and he's very, very open about his culture and about his experiences in Alaska, and he gets along well with Snake. They could have been friends if they weren't on opposite teams, so to say, because Snake also, I think Snake or either Snake or Miller breeds Alaskan hounds. One of the two breeds them. And Vulcan Raven is, when he dies, or as he lies dying, he lets the ravens that are populating this warehouse consume his body. When Snake comes back, nothing is left of the body other than the minigun. A top-tier character, S-rank, because of the coolness and the fact this man just offers his body while he's dying. He is not even dead yet, he's dying, and he offers his body to the ravens to eat him alive until he's dead. Alright, Weasel, I don't know. Wiseman, I don't know. Zadornov is a generic character. We put him in D rank. Now the last one, and that's what I was looking forward. Zero. A or S? This is hard. This is hard. This is hard. This is very, very hard. I don't want to put him in S rank, and here's why. Zero, during the Virtuous mission, Metal Gear Solid 3's storyline, is the colonel, and so to say the colonel, the support character and the leading character who runs the operation and instructs Big Boss. Zero, after the success of the Virtuous mission, is instructed by the president and several other organizations that not instructed but told that the performance of Big Boss was exceptional. Zero sees what this means, and Zero has an idea. Zero thinks and thinks and thinks, and what he does is Zero founds the Patriots and later on Foxhound. Zero founds the Patriots and puts Big Boss in charge, but Big Boss of course can't be part of the Patriots for long because it's too restrictive. The Patriots are again guided by the US, and what Big Boss wants is freedom for soldiers and not guidance. Self-guidance, freedom. Zero becomes an enemy. He has a falling out with Big Boss and decides to the events finally lead to the fact that he is indirectly responsible for everything that happens, hunting Big Boss in his dream down. But Zero is already incapable of doing anything by the time that the MSF are destroyed in Peace Walker and later. Zero is suspected to be the leader of XOF, reverse spelling of Fox. You know, Foxhound, Fox. It's reverse spelling XOF. The true leader of XOF is, of course, Skullface. Zero appears in Metal Gear Solid 4 and is revealed to be pretty much incoherent. He's pretty much not there only his body. He sits in a wheelchair and is kept alive, basically, has an infusion and everything. If I remember correctly, has an infusion in his arm. So, Big Boss, because he shares so much with this man, who never really betrayed him. Like, Zero never really betrayed him. Not for really. Zero never destroyed MSF. It was Skullface who destroyed him. Zero never destroyed anything, really. Big Boss realizes that it's time to, have Zero go away in peace, because this is no living for this man. So he chokes him out and kills him, basically. Big Boss then also dies shortly after, because, time over, and tells Solid Snake, even if he has only like 1 or 2 years left to live, he should make the best out of his life. He shouldn't go down like a soldier or something. He should go out as a man. And that's basically the plot of Metal Gear Solid for the end of that. That Big Boss is still alive. He meets with Solid Snake. The two share a few words. Big Boss chokes out Zero and kills him. And then Big Boss dies near the grave of the boss. And Solid Snake realizes that it's not worth struggling as a soldier and trying to stop the inevitable and search for an outer heaven. They need to stop being soldiers and live life. That's basically the storyline. So I'm pretty happy with this layout. I'm going to save it though. Wait, hold on a second. I want to save it if I can. Alright, I got it. Anyways, I saved it. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this list. I mean, we have the Big Boss, we have all the snakes in S tier. We have Grey Fox in S tier, Kaz Miller, the Boss, Sonny, Ocelot, Sniper Wolf, Skullface, Volgin, D-Horse, of course, Donald Anderson, The End, Fortune and Vulcan Raven, the Gnola and Mecha Gnola just because of the sentimental value, Grillicon because of the freakiness, and Natasha Romanenkov, Meryl and Nuke, Paramedic, Quiet, and Rykov and Vamp. Rykov just because he's so cringy and he's basically Raiden. Raidenovich Rykov is actually his name. Raidenovich Rykov is a nod at Raiden because Raiden is so gay. Vamp. Then we have Zero and Code Talker and Strangelove and Eva. Peacock and Psycho Mantis and Paz and Armstrong. A tier. In B tier we have Raiden because he's not worth being a top tier character. We have the doctors and everything and supporting characters, Grannon and such. We have Olga and Shabani and the carrying characters. C for carrying for the Running Man and other characters from Metal Gear. And we have the Pain and Decoy Octopus and so on. Rosemary's in D because she got cucked. Johnny, Emma Emmerich for being lame. Roy Campbell and Scott Dolphin. Gulukovich, characters that just don't do much. Yui included because he's a cuck. Then we have a bunch of characters that I don't know or I don't care about and that I don't want to rank that I put here. Then we have an F, the CIA members, Etepe because he's a child soldier who's weak. There's also a few characters missing, and other child soldiers are missing. And in absolute trash we have Kojima, Drebin, Little Grey, and Hausman, of course. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's do the ranking here real quick on this. Obviously, Metal Gear Solid 2 is an S tier. Metal Gear Solid is an S tier. It was the first game of its kind in graphics and 3D graphics. Of course, this has to be that. What is this? Is this the VR missions? Hang on. Oh shit! Oops, I closed it. Damn it. Oh, I saved it, okay. VR missions. This is the VR missions. The VR missions are just added bonus, B rank. What is this? Metal Gear Solid VR missions. also. Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. That gets an S rank. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes is so short it deserves a C tier. And this is D tier. Metal Gear Solid 4 is a C tier because of all this futuristic bullshit. Phantom Pain gets an S tier because I like it, and it's very important to the storyline and very nice. Metal Gear Acid, that's the one I never played. It's a B tier because it doesn't, or C tier, doesn't deserve anything. Metal Gear Survive. Isn't that the new one, the newest one, that stupid bullshit one? Yeah. Mother base, basically a part of a mother base is taken away in a vortex, and I just can't get with that plot. I just can't. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes is the remake on GameCube. That gets a B rank. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker gets a B rank. Metal Gear Solid Acid 2, I have nothing to say for that. That gets a C rank. Actually, that deserves D because I'm not into these cartoon games. Twin Snakes. What is that? Why is there 2 times? Huh? Well, I wouldn't bet both there. Metal Gear Solid on the Game Boy. Yeah, that should have not been done. And Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. This basically made a bunch of like survival games possible. So that's my ranking, so to say. Fuck it. I just see it like that. I just see the ranking like that. All the Metal Gear bosses. Oh wow. Impossible, hard, took me 5 minutes. That's the Shagohod I was talking about. The Shagohod wasn't that hard. Sahelanthropus is hard because Sahelanthropus has this laser from his dick, a drill on his arm, rockets and machine gun, a railgun and crushing attack. It's hard. What's this supposed to be? That's remake Sniper Wolf, or is that normal Sniper Wolf? That's Sniper Wolf in remake. Sniper Wolf in remake is okay. In original, she isn't that hard. So wasn't that hard. The fight against the... Now we're talking about enemies in different difficulties. I would say in harder difficulty, the Rays, the Metal Gear Rays from Metal Gear Solid 2, because there's so many of them, is harder. You also run out of ammo if you're not careful. If you're really not careful, you can run out of Stinger ammo. There's only 20 bullets for it, or 20 rockets for it. You can run out of ammo really fast. This is the Harrier. This is the Harrier fight from Metal Gear Solid 2. The Harrier fight is hard because it drops bombs and rockets, and they are hard to predict where they go. He can use a machine gun to finish you off, and he can hover and fly over. And the hitbox of this thing can be hidden. It can be hidden behind struts and everything, stuff blocking it. So stuff can block it, so that's why it's hard. Is that the first Ocelot fight, or which one is this? This is the second Ocelot fight. Ocelot fight is easy. If you know what to do, you can hide. There's a lot of hiding spots. This took me 5 minutes. The Volgin fight isn't that hard, but dangerously hard if you don't know the tactics, so it's hard. This fight can be hard as well. This is the fight of the hand-to-hand combat fight. If you're not careful, you can take a lot of damage. I don't know what that's supposed to be. This is from Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. This is the skulls. Wait a minute. Oh my god, what am I doing? Oh my god. Hard but situational. This is hard but situational. The fighting against the skulls is very hard but situational. You can easily win against the skulls. But if you don't know what you're doing or you're overwhelmed, you can easily die. So it's very hard but situational. The fight against Volgin on the man on fire, Volgin on fire, is hard if you don't know what to do. Okay, I want to make another one here. Hard if you don't know what to do. Good. It's hard if you don't know what to do. Fighting the man on fire is hard if you don't know what to do. Or this. Okay, that's much better. Very hard but situational. That's much better. That's also true. Hard if you don't know what to do. Yes, that's better. Or this is better, actually. Hard if you don't know what to do. That applies to everything, basically, but... Well, Volgin is hard and this is hard if you don't know what to do. If you don't know how to melee, then this is hard, yes. Revolver Ocelot takes 5 minutes. This is like the easiest boss fight, the first boss fight you... If you never had a boss fight, this is the one that teaches you what a boss fight is. The only thing that Revolver Ocelot does is curve bullets a little bit or shoot bullets around corners, and that's all he does. He shoots 6 shots out of his revolver and then he has to reload, and you can just easily clap him. This is hard if you don't know what to do, because he can skate, and if you don't know which weapon to use, he can die. Wasn't that hard. Vamp is hard. Very hard but situational, because it depends on which fight too. Yeah, the fight in the water. If you don't know what to do, then he can easily clap you if you're not careful. It took me 5 minutes to kill Quiet. The skulls are impossible. Possible for noobs. The skulls are impossible. The female sniper skulls are impossible for noobs on higher difficulties or with bad equipment. Yes, they are impossible to do. Oh, this guy wasn't that hard. Vulcan Raven. Very hard, but situational. Reason for that is Vulcan Raven has this giant-ass minigun, the Vulcan minigun, or Vulcan gun, chain gun. The downside of this guy is, or the problem is, he's very hard because he can shred you if you don't know what to do, and if you're cornered because you're not careful, you can be shredded. Olga Golukovich is Easy as hell. Okay, it doesn't take 5 minutes. There you go. Here's Fortune. Impossible for noobs, because Fortune with her railgun just shreds you. This guy's fight is hard if you don't know what to do, because you have to shoot him and at the same time disarm bombs. Here is the... this guy is hard. This guy is hard if you don't know what to do, but it's also hard even if you know what to do. This guy is taking 5 minutes literally, if you don't kill anybody especially so. Vamp in Metal Gear Solid 4 wasn't that hard. Oh, Metal Gear Solid 4, I think, is it? Rex versus Ray. Metal Gear Rex versus Ray. That is very hard, but situational. If you don't know how to use a mech, then it's hard. But if you know how to use a mech, then it's okay. This guy is not hard. Frank Jäger, aka... what's his face? What's his fucking face? Frank Jäger, aka... God damn it, now his name escapes me. Frank Jäger, aka Grey Fox. That cyborg ninja isn't that hard. The flamethrower, as I said, is hard if you don't know what to do. You have no clue what to do, then he's hard. There's the first Sniper Wolf fight is on the same level as the original one, on the one in the sniper field. It's confined, so both of you have less places to go to, and if you just watch where she goes, you can easily shoot her, and that goes in both encounters. Vulcan Raven, why is he in there twice? The Vulcan Raven, let's say this is the Vulcan Raven minigun fight, and this is the tank fight. The tank fight isn't that hard, because he shoots the tank cannon and the minigun, the automatic gun, but that's all it does. This is easy if you keep your cool. It takes 5 minutes actually, because all that he does, he puts his head behind Emma, and you just have to wait for his head to stick out, and you can see the scope is really well. So yeah, not a problem at all. The boss can be hard if you don't know what to do. The Hind is hard because it can use rockets and machine gun, and it can be hard to hit. Oh, this floating guy with the rockets, yeah, that's also hard, yeah, I would say. Okay, that's one of these girls. The girls aren't that hard, because you just need to keep your distance. That isn't that hard either. Or actually easy, rather. Oh, the skulls again. Now this is impossible for noobs. I'm gonna say that because these guys are not hard to defeat, but in the first mission you need to be stealthy, and if you get seen, they follow you, and you also lose a special achievement. If you don't get seen, you get a special achievement. So if these guys see you, then it's over, and it's hard for a noob, impossible for a noob to not be seen. There's one of these women again. Puppet puller wasn't that hard, yes. There's the skulls. Hardened armor encounter, that's very hard but situational. This is the final fight against Sahelanthropus, impossible for noobs, on high difficulty, on extreme difficulty even more so. If you're a noob and try extreme difficulty for the first time, if you struggled on the first fight on the normal difficulty, then you'll die a lot on hard. Eli's fight. I don't know why Eli's in there. Wait a minute. Yeah? Do they mean Eli's fight where you melee him? Because that's hard to know if you don't know what to do. Eli and you just exchange blows and you have to defeat him and knock him out. Metal Gear Rex. It's not that hard. Psycho Mantis. Easy. He just basically defeats himself. Yep, that's my list. I would say. Psycho Mantis basically defeats himself. You know, Psycho Mantis, you just, you know, he just taps himself. Easy to take care out of. Alright, I'm gonna be back in a bit.